Peacekeepers are even caught in the crossfire in the Middle East with the missile attacks, and nobody is being spared. The Israel-US-Iran conflict has hit day 7. I remember it was just a Saturday like this when we closed last week that we heard of the first missile, and it's unleashing a lot of havoc. Hundreds of dead people, infrastructure in ruins, and a region on edge. Both Iran and the US are unwilling to stamp back, with threats and counter-threats flying. For Ghana, the million-dollar question remains: are we safe? When it comes to fuel prices, are we safe? When it comes to the supply chain architecture, are we safe? Can our economy handle another hit? What is next for us as a people? Is this conflict containable? What stakes are currently at play, geopolitically and every international relations wise? And how do we prepare for the fallout? This morning, we would ask our panel, is there an end in sight to this conflict? What are the geopolitical interests at play? And how should smaller economies like Ghana prepare and position itself for the fallout? On the local scene, back home, the minority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, has apologized to the Minister for Interior and National Security over allegations of fraud. He alleged that there was some fraud involved in the 2025-2026 Security Service recruitment exercise. The apology comes amid threats that he could be referred to Parliament's Privileges Committee. But the question is, was the apology an admission that allegations he made cannot or could not be substantiated? Or was it a strategic retreat to avoid parliamentary sanctions? In another developing story, which has generated a lot of heated national debate, the John Mahama administration has revoked 541 public sector recruitments and appointments and promotions which were carried out in the latter days or the final days of the Akufo-Addo administration. The decision follows a review by the presidential committee that was set up and were tasked with examining the controversial wave of hiring that occurred after the December 7, 2024 general election. Was the decision a necessary step to protect the integrity of the public service, or basically a politically motivated purge? These and other issues we will discuss and interrogate deeply this morning. As usual, Current Agenda is sponsored by Bank of Africa and by NPA. Bank of Africa says that it's a month of our heritage. And Bank of Africa is wishing all its customers, all viewers of Current Agenda, a happy Heritage Month. And it's asking that if you need any financial support, any assistance financially, if you want a credit card, if you want a USD card, any support that you need, visit any Bank of Africa branch and you'll be sorted. You cannot talk of our heritage without talking about the support the Bank of Africa brings to the Ghanaian economy. Visit any of their branches, or you can reach them on their call center number 0302 429 333, or go to their website www.boaghana.com and engage Fafa for all your responses to your various questions. The NPA also says that if you have visited any fuel or gas station and you believe that you've received poor quality service or quality product, there is no point or there is no need for you to argue with the attendants. Just visit any of the NPA regional offices or the national office and make your complaint. And within 48 hours, once the complaint is received, they will resolve it for you. NPA assures us that quality care is their hallmark and would not support any foul or wrong treatment at any fuel station. NPA, quality care is what they stand for. We'll be right back after this break.
Decades, we have helped businesses connect with their trade partners all over the globe. From Ghana to Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, China, Morocco, France, Netherlands, and many other countries. We have made it possible to bring Ghana to the world. We have brought small and medium businesses closer to their customers across the regions in Ghana with our SME support facilities. We have brought relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa, we are indeed the global reach.
Stay back and stay safe. The National Petroleum Authority is cautioning the public to desist from scooping or fetching fuel from overturned fuel tankers at accident scenes. Do not get closer to the scene in an attempt to take videos or pictures. Inhaling the petroleum product is detrimental to your health. Worst of all, petroleum products are volatile and highly flammable, and a small spark can trigger a catastrophic explosion, causing deaths and loss of property. Call the Ghana Fire Service or Ghana Police personnel to handle the scene, or reach the National Petroleum Authority's contact center on 0302 550 380. Your life is worth more than a gallon of fuel. This Save a Life campaign is from the National Petroleum Authority.
Current Agenda is brought to you by Bank of Africa, the African bank with global reach. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. And National Petroleum Authority, NPA, where customer care meets excellence.
Welcome back to Current Agenda. This morning on my reflection, I would first want to wish the whole country happy 69th independence anniversary. Proud Ghanaians. In fact, I'll call myself a representative of the Proud Ghanaians Association. But this morning I want to look at something a bit different from what we've been celebrating, what we heard our president talk about yesterday during the Guard of Honor parade. I would want to speak on the well-being and the dignity of the Ghanaian. 69 years after independence, the well-being and the dignity of the Ghanaian. So as Ghana marks the 69 years of independence, it is a moment to do an introspective review on our nation's journey and the importance we attach to human dignity. That is what we need to look at this morning. An introspective analysis on our nation's journey and the importance we attach to human dignity. Despite the progress we have made, there are still concerns that values are eroding and human life is being increasingly disregarded. These actions stem from a deeper issue, a lack of respect for human dignity. We are valuing profits over people, and it's reflected in our treatment of vulnerable populations, like children and like the poor. Recently, we've heard and we've seen the police crack down on a lot of abusive acts that we see on social media towards children, and we applaud them. It's a step in the right direction, but that action is just a fraction of the bigger problem. We've become so desensitized to the struggles of others, and it's eating away at our collective humanity. And it is evident in every aspect of our daily lives and within the systemic structures that we have, that the pursuit of immediate benefits frequently takes over the welfare of individuals. Let me explain. I like buying Coca-Cola, Fanta. Now, the 1.5 bottle of Coca-Cola is about 30 cedis, if I'm correct, the last time I bought. Somewhere in December, the Coca-Cola company thought it wise to reward and appreciate its customers. And what did it do? It increased it with a 0.5 liter, making it a 2-liter Coke, but being sold at the same price at 1.5. And it tagged it on the bottle free. However, Ghanaian retail shops decide to still sell that free to us. For them, it's about profit. Irrespective of what it is that somebody wants to do to appreciate its customers, that 30 cedi bottle went to 35. And I went to different shops, and all of them were selling it at the same price. When you ask them, they tell us, this is our season. This is our cocoa season. Let us make that profit. I have a friend whose sister imports car spark plugs, the one we call spark plugs, from Nigeria. A box of the plugs in Nigeria costs 250 cedis, and you have 10 of those plugs in there. When she brings it to town, the transportation cost and then the border issues eventually raises the cost to about 300 cedis, and she sells it about 400 cedis to the service stations and then the retail shops. Guess what? When you go to do maintenance on your car, one spark plug is sold to you at 120 to 150 cedis. That makes the whole box 1,200 to 1,500. A box that they bought for 450, 450 Ghana cedis is being sold to us at 1,200 to 1,500 cedis. That is what we talk about. The greed in the Ghanaian, the average Ghanaian, wanting to think so much about the profit they make over the well-being of people. That is the issue. How something that is tagged free, a 0.5 liter free, at the end is sold to us. They end up exploiting the innocent and the unsuspecting buyer. This blatant disregard for fairness is reflective of broader societal problems, as seen in the use of harmful substances. We hear of what people use to even soften beans so that they can cook and sell to people. People are using chemicals to force food items to ripe so they can sell. You stand in traffic and you buy plantain chips and you think it's ripe plantain, but it's not. Something has been applied to it before it was fried. We do not cherish human dignity. Why on earth will anybody think that the manufacturers of a car who have done the right calculations and put a steering wheel on the right will come into our country and some mechanic with no educational training or with no engineering training sits behind in a corner somewhere in a shop and decides to shift or move the steering wheel from the right to the left, and we drive on our roads and accidents happen and we are wondering why. A society that values funerals, that is where we make money. We actually even say we have a funeral culture where other jurisdictions are doing things to protect lives and preserve lives. We are looking at losing lives and spending and making more money during funerals. And so mechanics are manipulating vehicles for financial gains. Building contractors are using shoddy materials to build and it collapses. And what happens? Business as usual. We wear our black, we go mourn, we make promises, and life goes on. Life goes on. People bring goods onto our market, goods that are substandard. We allow those goods into our market. People consume them and die very young, and we are okay. We come on TV, we come on radio, we make noise about it for a week or two, and then everything goes back to number. The number of accidents on our roads the food poisoning cases, and the building collapses is just a grim reminder of our priorities. How on earth will any security agency ask young men who have completed school to come sit on the floor all in the name of recruitment? We saw when they were recruiting the young military guys, where some died. What happened? Life is going on. Everybody is going on. They are dead. The hope of their parents is gone. Nobody cares about them. Why? Because they had to travel from far and wide just to come and sit on the bare floor at Elwak under the scorching sun in the name of seeking employment. That is how low we consider the dignity of human beings in this country. So yes, 69 years, there's a lot to be proud of. But when we talk about our well-being, when we talk about our dignity, when we talk about our living access to basic necessities, like quality healthcare and education, you see children sitting under trees. Government upon government come, everybody says they are eradicating schools under trees. But it still stays with us. Yet we are spending millions to fly a number of 22 plus 20 people to go play football, whilst children sit under trees. Children sit in dilapidated buildings to study. Whilst there are hospitals where there's not even doctors present, no medical practitioners present. People go to hospital and even basic health care, first aid, they cannot get. Why? Because our value is in when the person dies, the family owns the body, we sit, we go and borrow money from all over just to come and do grand funerals, don black, mourn, cry to show that we love the person. It is imperative that we reassess our priorities and strive towards a Ghana where human life is accorded the utmost importance. We must acknowledge the intrinsic worth of every Ghanaian and treat one another with respect and dignity. Important. Respect and dignity. This necessitates holding individuals and institutions accountable for their actions and fostering a culture of transparency and accountability. You have no business driving a car with expired insurance on the road if you value the life of other road users. It is not about you. It is not about the fact that your car does not have a headlight and so you can see. That is not the case. There are other road users, and if you value their life, you would not. And if the police also values human life, you would not accept any inducement just to allow it to go. Driving on our streets at night is a danger. You need to be extra careful and bring all your senses to bear. A journey that is supposed to be a smooth journey becomes a life-changing moment. Why? Because everybody on the road does not think of being conscious, but there's recklessness. What is the way forward? Let's promote transparency and accountability. We call on the enforcement of strict penalties for those who compromise human dignity. A railway is built and somebody thinks he's more wise or he's wiser, so he goes to remove the bolts from the railways to go and sell so that he will get something to eat, but everybody else that uses the railway should die. This person is somebody that we should give harsher punishments. We should ensure that institutions are held accountable for their actions. Let's invest in education and awareness. Maybe the older generation is gone, but concentrate on the younger ones. Let's improve on their educational syllabus and curriculum and include things that will let them value human lives. Educate Ghanaians on their rights and the importance of respecting human dignity. And finally, let's foster a culture that respects human beings. Let's encourage empathy, respect for every Ghanaian, regardless of the status of the person. This is my reflection this morning. Once again, I wish us all a happy 69th anniversary, and I pray that by the time we turn 70 or 80 or 90 or 100, the story will be different. I'll be right back after this break. Well, welcome back to Current Agenda, proudly sponsored by Bank of Africa and NPA. We are live on GTV, GBC News, and also live on Radio Ghana. You can reach us on our social media handles, GTV and Ghana Broadcasting, on Facebook, on YouTube, on X. You can reach us. If you also want to reach us on WhatsApp, you can reach us on 053 1101315, 053 1101315. Your comments on what we will discuss on the reflections, bring them in, and we'll do well to read within the course of the program. I would introduce my panel in studio, and those who would also join on Zoom. I would introduce them as and when they come in. In studio, I have with me at my extreme left, Dr. Thomas Anaba. He's the MP for Garu. Doc, good morning.
Good morning to you, to my co-panelists. Yes. Good morning to the good people of Ghana, especially the good people of Garu.
Yes. This morning, this year, I don't think I've met you, so Happy New Year.
Many happy returns and happy anniversary of our 69th independence.
Thank you.
That took place yesterday.
Thank you. Well, so next to Dr. Thomas is another doctor, a senior one from the University of Ghana, Dr. Kumi Ansakoy. I hope I pronounced the surname right. Right. He's a senior lecturer at the Political Science Department. Doc, good morning. I hope you are doing well.
Very fine.
And happy 69th. I'm sure on this table you should be able to give us more account of our independence than anybody else here. Because you are closer to the independence than the rest of us. Okay. Welcome. Next to him is my bearded brother, Emmanuel Kutin. He is the Executive Director for Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism. My brother, I'm still jealous the how the gray is.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, brother. Yes. I hope you're good.
God has been merciful as always.
Right. Thank you. And then to my immediate left is lawyer Austin Kwabena Bracco Powers. He's a private legal practitioner. Powers.
You? Hey, good morning.
Good morning. I hope you're good too.
Yeah, I'm very good. Just, your reflection really pierced a hole in my heart. It touched on the basis, what every Ghanaian is thinking about. In fact, if Ghana was to be a human being, Ghana should be on retirement.
9 years after retirement.
Yes, 9 years after retirement. So the question would be, are we proud of? Or if Ghana was to be my father, would I be proud of my father? At this stage, looking at the circumstances, the situation in the country, I think my verdict will be there.
This was the question I was going to ask across the board. The same line you chose. It's as if you look at my script. Yeah. So I'll come around and ask, if Ghana was supposed to be your father, would you be proud at 69? So I'll ask that question. We are expecting lawyer Enoch Afuapa. He's a member of the NPP legal team. He will join us. Also to join us on Zoom, we would have Eric Siao Nate. He's a PRO for the Ghanaians living in Qatar. And then also we'll have Dr. Nana Yao Miriku Yaboa. He's an international relations expert. And so this morning we'll do a lot of discussions on what is happening with the Israel-Iran USA conflict. We'll draw more or much of the time we would dedicate it to that discussion because it has dire consequences on the whole globe, and so we'll do that. But before I start, I'll just go around. Just 2 minutes, my panel members. I'll start with Dr. Anaba. If Ghana was supposed to be your father, 69 years after independence, would you be proud of this father?
Oh, in fact, I'm proud of Ghana. Ghana has been a pace setter in Africa in many terms. I'm not a historian, but what I've learned and what I've seen, we've tried to establish a democracy that is envied by many. At least we tend to be very open in what we do. We discuss, we talk, we criticize each other, but we still maintain the peace and try to keep our democracy thriving. In as much as we need improvement in the economy and the well-being of the nation, that does not mean that, to me, that Ghana, we shouldn't be proud of Ghana. We should be proud of Ghana because we have a good history. Yes, what we need to do is to eschew what we call the corruption in Ghana, ensure that we invest in productive ventures. We ensure that we use our money prudently. We have to be disciplined, like we are calling, and ensure that everybody gets a share of the cake of the country. To me, I'm proud of Ghana, and I hope that we just need to change a little our attitude, our culture, and Ghana can be better than what we have.
Thank you. Doc.
Yes, I'm very proud to be a Ghanaian, and I'm very proud of Ghana. But let me just say this. Your very good introduction, your perspective, your introduction to me was very nice. But I want to comment on it, if you let me.
Please feel free.
And it's just to say as follows. It reminds me of a pastor said in the church. The pastor preaches and says all sorts of things and goes away without anybody questioning him. And that's what that reminds me of. Every Independence Day, our leaders actually speak to us, address us, emulate this, do that, don't do that, don't do that. But we don't have the chance that much to speak to our leaders. And I want to reply. All that you pointed to, the indiscipline, the disregard of human dignity, human life, all those things you pointed to are human and they would always remain. It is the duty of government to put in place institutions, processes and mechanisms that would ensure that the right thing is done. Even in heaven, where there's supposed to be perfection, rebellion took place.
Right.
So every good state, what you see there are laws that work, institutions which work, leaders who avert corruption and the like. And all the failures you pointed out is a failure of leadership. Our institutions are not working. If there's a proper audit service, perhaps, that person could not have stolen that level of money from that corporation.
Right.
So it comes back to us, the elites. It comes back to leadership. It comes back to government. And I think for once, we, the ordinary Ghanaians, are a bit tired of being spoken to, addressed, as if we have a long way to go and everybody has its perfection. But to me, the main problem is with our leadership, our governance. I'm proud of my Ghanaianness, I'm proud I'm a Ghanaian, and I'm proud of Ghana, no doubt about that. But the fact still remains that our leaders have failed us significantly, and it is time to put that to them. Ghana could have achieved a lot more than what we have done. Yeah. Take any country the size of Ghana, in terms of natural resource endowment, in terms of development, we are well a pace or so ahead of everybody else. But yet we've not been able to realize the potentials that nature and God has given us. So I think our burden is that of good governance. We are not having good governance, and our leadership and our elites have failed us considerably, and we could have been far better off than we are now. Right. But having said all that, I'm still very proud of my Ghanaian citizenship.
I join you in being proud of being a Ghanaian. I am proud of being a Ghanaian. Dr. Kutin, I've called you a doctor, so make sure it happens.
Amen.
Amen.
In fact, Doc has just more or less spoken my mind. You know, I've always called for stronger institutions. And after 69 years, what is next? That is the question of every youth on the streets of Ghana. From my village in Sabuba to the city of Accra, Takoradi, we always use the Independence Day to choreograph beautiful speeches If you listen to the president's speech yesterday, very, very refreshing and, rallying. But we don't have the actions on our table. And how do we get that actions on? It's about leadership, what you show. And one single determinant of any successful society is how you treat your citizens. And treating your citizens is not merely in their welfare, but the applications of the rule of law. If you look at our country at 69, unfortunately, it looks as if the laws are meant for some people and not meant for others. Look, we have public accounts committees coming out every now and then, and there are clear evidence of public officials embezzling millions of taxpayers' money. But enforcement becomes a challenge. Then somebody on the street steals a chicken and he's sentenced 5 years, 10 years. And the issue of corruption is not as if we can resolve it. The political will is not there. If you look at the last election, though, the current government campaign on the back of corruption. They are in government. What have they done about all the cries they were talking about? So Ghanaians are increasingly losing trust in our institutions. And that is very inimical to our progress as a country, and by extension, the democracy that we've set the pace and many people in Africa are envying. At least Americans have shown the world that they don't play by the rules. So the smaller countries like us who have been able to play by the rules, at least successfully changing government after government, I think that we ought to pat ourselves at the back. But the real work remains. And we must depoliticize this country, make corruption not a political issue, but a very expensive enterprise. Look at the current revelation at our ports, the monies that get leaks. Look at our natural resources, like you mentioned. How would it be the case that a hospital will not have a bed? Our pregnant women will go and give birth on the bed floor. You can't get good potable water to drink. Our children are studying under trees, no furniture to sit on. We don't have portable roads. Look at even in the cities. You can't drive 3 kilometers on a good tar road. You can't get it. So as a country, I feel that I'm very proud as a Ghanaian, but I think we have let our founders down. If our founders were to come to Ghana today, look at the work Nkrumah started, where we have factories and those things. And in a very short period of time, Nkrumah could put Akusombo Dam, a very generational project that we are all benefiting. The factories that Nkrumah did, where are those factories today? We cannot even get them to work. And we are talking about laying a bill in Parliament for the 24-hour. We must stop the rhetoric of politics and rally ourselves together to build our dear country.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Powers?
I think the issue has nothing to do with whether or not I'm a proud Ghanaian. Because reducing that the conversation to that is simple. I think we must be conscious and ask ourselves, looking at our trajectory, the path, the role we play in the independence of not only this country but some other countries, and on the continent, we are happy with our progress. I think the answer is no. The thing is that continuing to recite the role we play in the life of other countries is good for a reminder. But without more, it's not empty. It is good to whip the sentiment and patriotism of Ghana by telling people, we did this before, we have done this before, we can do it. But if you remind them of our past, our glorious past, which I agree, and you don't put in place the steps, the requisite steps to make sure that the younger generation are able to adopt and behave in a manner that will help us to move forward. That's an empty talk. I think that the thing is why are we here? We are here because of petty partisan politics. Every matter of national interest is reduced to politics. And you know that the thing is that in this country, when politics steps in, the real conversation is lost.
You mean partisan politics?
Yes, partisan politics steps in. The real conversation is lost. Because we are not able to hold an impartial debate or conversation regarding matters that affect the interests of this country.
Right.
Which is why I'm saying that simply reducing the conversation to whether or not you are proud to be a guy, it's way outside the conversation.
Wow.
The thing is that as a country, looking at what we have done in the past, we should be in a position to even rival countries like Rwanda. But when you walk to Kigali, the place is clean. Just look at this city. Look at the city that holds the government. And tell me if you are proud to be a Ghanaian. That issue has reducing it to that simplify the conversation to that level. It's to lose the whole conversation. You get it? I listened to Askutin well articulated. I listened to the president. In fact, his speech, top notch. Exciting speech. I read it. I listened to him. I watched him, and I also read it. Good drama. Good drama. Good history. In fact, he was on top of his history because the president he's been a student of history. But that is it.
Beyond that,
back to square one. Do you understand? So I agree across the table. Fine, we need stronger institutions. I mean, this thing, Kuti and I have been on this number of platforms. I mean, our thought patterns on matters of institutional strengthening institutions in this country is well known. But the thing is that beyond the leadership, we're the citizens, and because you were actually we're the citizens. All of us on this table, we are part to blame. Because we play a major role. The issue has nothing to do with only the leadership. But if the leadership moves and the people do not move, what happens? True. You get it? So we must expand the conversation and bring everybody on board. We are all part to blame. If I buy pure water, and I always say that we should thank the late former Vice President Ali Mahama. In fact, for his presidential campaign.
Keep the city clean.
For that campaign, Kojo, I witnessed Accra before he started that campaign, and I'm telling you that campaign saved Ghana. Because sometimes you sit in a trottoir and people will drink water, but then we're using penny.
Yeah, the tied one.
Yes. Then people will drink, then they will just throw it overboard, or they throw it away, whilst they are sitting in the car instead of leaving it in the car. So, but for the campaign, I'm telling you, this country, this city, I think we owe him a lot.
Right. Lawyer Falk, welcome. You are wearing your smock today.
Yeah, I just want His Excellency the President to know that I also have the best of fugu or smoke in my wardrobe. It is not only His Excellency the President. That if we should compete, I can certainly beat him to it.
You can beat him to it.
Yeah, I can beat him to it.
Right. Anyway, so we're going to start our discussions on the Iran, Israel, USA. I don't even know how it's arranged. Israel. Okay. So we're going to start with that. We'll start with our countryman who is currently in Qatar. He's a rep for the Ghanaians living in Qatar. So we'll get him to just give us an idea of what is really happening there since he's present. Then I will come in studio to discuss further. So Eric, if you can hear me, good morning from Ghana.
Hi, good morning to your lovely viewers in Ghana. It's 10:48 a.m. here in Doha, the capital of Qatar.
Okay. Now I'm a bit confused because the way you are looking, you don't look like somebody who is in the middle of flying missiles.
Well, the situation has been projected on social media. It's not what it is here in Qatar. So, yes. So what we are facing is that, yes, we are in the midst of this whole missile and what have you. But as and when there is, and let's say, the security level elevate, we get a text from the Ministry of Interior advising us that the current situation has elevated, so we are to remain indoors. So it is not that kind of scary as being put out on social media. But hey, because we as Ghanaians, we've not witnessed some of these things before back home in Ghana. So that kind of panic and other stuff, we will be in that state, the state of uncertainty. Because as and when they intercept, you hear that loud sound. So you don't know whether it is the interception or it is the real thing that has hit the ground. So that was what brought the panic before. Then they began giving us education as to what really was happening. So they made us understood that if we hear that loud sound, it is not because something had been hit, but because they have intercepted, and the interception sound is what we are hearing, and then they are managing everything. So we should remain indoors and then allow them deal with the situation.
Since you are the PRO, can you give us some overview of what number of Ghanaians are in Qatar? If you have you might not have the exact figure, but just a rough estimate.
So we are over 12,000 Ghanaians in Qatar. Qatar alone, over 12,000. So as per my checks on the Ghana Embassy website, we are over 12,000 Ghanaians living and working here in Qatar. So that is the number we have at the moment.
A common platform? Is there some system that all of you are able to engage yourselves within this period so that at least you can actually confirm that everybody is safe?
Yeah, so as an association, what we began doing is that we have our various platforms like the TikTok, the Facebook, and also we have a WhatsApp channel. So right now, anybody, wherever you are, if you type the Ghanaians in Qatar Association on WhatsApp, that is WhatsApp channel, it will lead you to our association. And then we have some of our Ghanaians on that platform. And then what we do is that as and when there's an update, we go on live and then discuss the latest update with them to keep them also informed. Aside from that, also, there are Ghanaian churches here in Qatar. So when we receive any information, we try to communicate with the church leaders about the latest update. For example, we have the Church of Pentecost here in Qatar, and then we have an interdenominational church also here in Qatar known as the Ebenezer Interdenominational Church, Doha, Qatar, and among others. So as and when we get any information, we either communicate on the WhatsApp channel, the Facebook, the TikTok, or share with these church leaders so that at least they can also reach out to their members regarding the latest updates that we have, either from the authorities or from the Ghana Embassy here in Doha.
Your association and the Foreign Affairs Ministry, probably through the mission or the embassy in Doha?
Yeah, so the Foreign Affairs deals with the Ghana Embassy or the mission here in Doha. And we also deals directly with the mission here in Doha. So as and when they get any information, either we go on a meeting so that they can discuss with us that these are the latest development they've gotten from Accra. That is the term we use, means from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So then once that comes in, they relate those informations to us, and then we also have to communicate same with our members. So this is what we've been doing. That's how we've been getting the information from the mission.
So, Eric, one of my panel members would want to ask you a question. Kutin?
Yes, Eric, thank you for the good works you are doing and for keeping the Ghanaian public informed. But I have a very serious concern. You realize our peacekeepers in Lebanon were struck last night.
Yeah.
We had some form of our peacekeepers who are critically injured. Now, yeah. I know Qatar is not so much in the mix, a few missiles here and there, but what strategic plans are in place to keep our citizens safe? Are there evacuation plans? You feel that this can be contained?
Okay, so at the moment, we have two things happening at the moment. Now, right now, okay.
No, go on.
All right, so just right now, there is a text in that indicates that the threat level has been eliminated. So before this live, we had a text from the National Center, that is a Ministry of Interior, alerting us that the security level has been elevated, so we have to remain indoors. Just right now, during this interview, we just got another text alerting us that the alert has been eliminated, so everything is under control as of this moment. Now, back to your question. What is happening here is that we are getting constant information from the government. And if also where, for example, initially they were attacking one area, okay? So that is the American base. That is where we've been seeing the news that the attacks have been directed. So as of yesterday and also a day before that, the government also evacuated, that is people or let's say residents living within that area, to a safer place. Now, any notification that they will get regarding a possible attack area, the government sets in and then evacuate the people from that area. Now, again, here, it is not that kind of scary as being put out there, all right? So maybe other jurisdiction, their situation might be that worse as compared to here. But over here, the security alerts and the prevention system and method that have been put in place is working for all of us. And then our people are safe. As of this morning, none of our people have been injured in this ongoing crisis. That I can speak to that fact. We've not gotten any report that a Ghanaian has been hit or injured in this ongoing stuff. So it's okay here. It's okay here based on the security measures or arrangements that has been done by the Qatari government. So all is well unless the situation changes. Now, regarding the evacuation, we had two links. So the first one, the mission encouraged all citizens within Qatar to register. So at least they can have a complete data of Ghanaians living in Qatar. Yes, we are over 12,000, but probably some might have exited the country before this whole incident. So for them to be aware of the number of people currently living, they brought up that link encouraging us to register, which most of us have done that registration. Then yesterday, one thing is that we had our 69th Independence Anniversary celebration online. So as part of the message from the mission to us, they said there's a latest or an updated link, and that has to do with those who don't want to wait for the possible evacuation. So the thing is, the first one that we filled, we are waiting for the government to assess the situation and then determine that the current situation requires a possible evacuation. Now, as of today, we've not gotten to that state yet, as per the information we received from the mission. Now, on the second link, or which is the new one that came to us yesterday, there are those who cannot wait. They want to exit the country at all costs. So now, the mission says, if you want to exit the country, then what they can do is that they can facilitate that process or that arrangement for you, which means they have to evacuate you or exit you from the country through land to Saudi. That is where you can get your flight to wherever you want to go. But then it comes with conditions, so that we've been able to discuss with our members, and those who wish to evacuate or exit the country as of today, as they so wish, they are currently complying with the mission instructive or orders to see them exit the country. So this is where we are, and these are the measures being put in place by the mission.
So, Eric, yeah, you mentioned the total number of Ghanaians living in Qatar as
yes, over 12,000.
Over 12,000. So
yeah.
My question has to do with the fact that, I mean, beyond the engagement by the embassy over there, what other unconventional means are you using to reach your members? Because the number is huge. There may be other people, yes, the other people who may not be IT savvy or tech savvy. I mean, in a moment like this, there are people who perhaps may feel that or may be disengaged. So what other unconventional means? What other unconventional means are you guys adopting to make sure that no one is left behind?
Yeah, so we as an association, we have over 50 media guys who are very famous here within this country. And one of them, like we have the Efo Banks, the Respect Woman, the Kamaslai, among others. So these are well-known media guys within Qatar here. And what these guys together we've been doing is that once we get the information from the mission and we circulate on the channel and also the churches, each and everyone goes live. So we go live and then we share that information with our people here in Qatar. The thing is, we cannot move to accommodation, even though we know where most of our people are. We cannot move based on the information receiving. So the other alternative we are using is going on live and then addressing our people and giving them the latest updates. For instance, yesterday like this, we were live. Personally, I was on live yesterday on my TikTok page and then discussed with the people about the latest development, the latest updates that we had. And I did that for, I think, twice. One in the morning and then one in the evening. So this is how we are engaging with them at the moment. If probably we get any other alternative, we will use. But for now, this is the medium we are using to engage our people. For those who are not on the channel and then those who haven't registered yet, we go on live and then encourage them and then give the latest update as and when it comes.
Splendid. And I think you have all the four corners covered. I also recommend that if you can put in a phone call, you can also adopt phone calls sometimes to reach other people, even though it may come with a huge cost. But my final question to you, we are all concerned, and I'm sure you understand that in this country we are all bothered, because the thing is that when anything happens to any citizen, and I mean we all feel hurt. Now, if your family members are listening to you, what would you tell them?
Well, so for my family, I would just tell them they should stay calm, and then they should only make sure some of the information they receive or watch are verified. In any way also, they can reach out to us and then verify some of the informations they reach. But then what we can tell them is that the situation here is not that kind of scary as being put out there. All right, it's not that kind of scary. So for our family, we'll tell them just stay calm, keep praying for us. Okay, so from Great Ningo, Tema Newtown, Takoradi, Upper East, Upper West, everywhere. Okay, where our families are and watching us at the moment. All right, all we can say is that keep praying for us and we for the situation to de-escalate from what it is at the moment to probably a zero. Because before even joining this live, I saw in the news feed now a breaking news indicating that where the issues are coming from, they have indicated that they are no longer going to attack their neighboring countries. So we hope this will be established and then it will be a thing of the past. So we are safe, we are stable as of now. If the situation changes and we require to be evacuated, we will do so and we will see all of them back home in Ghana. For now, we are safe and stable here. Thank you.
So, Eric, I have one more question from the MP for Garu, Dr. Anaba. So, Doc?
Yeah, Eric, thank you very much for giving us this relieving information, especially your last statement. You said they have given information that they are no longer going to attack their neighbors. You said you are feeling fine, everything is okay. Is it that anybody can go out to the groceries to fetch his grocery? If somebody is sick, he'll be able to go to hospital for treatment? And my main question is, how is the Ghana embassy treating you? Are you satisfied with the way they are handling the issue since you are in a place that is under siege, are you comfortable? Are you okay with the treatment, the arrangements being made by the Ghana Embassy in Qatar?
Okay, so I'll deal with the emergency service, then I'll now end with the Ghana Embassy. Now, as we speak, the lifeline services, that is the hospital and the police, among others, they've been 24/7 on the attacks and making sure that we are safe. Hospital is working. If you have any issues and you dial the national emergency number, the police or the ambulance will be at your doorstep and then to treat you. Where we are at the moment, personally, it's just meters away from our hospital known as the Al-Wakra General Hospital. It's just meters away from us. They've not shut down. They are operating 24/7. So as and when there's an emergency that needs them, they themselves, they will come. And the emergency service are within a minute. So now, assuming there is an emergency and then I dial them, under 1 minute, they will be within my doorstep, because within every vicinity, they are having their emergency services parading within that vicinity for any possible emergency. That was even being done before this incident occurred. So that is something they are doing, and they've been doing that also for quite a long time. So that is why I keep saying that we are safe and then we are stable. So that's the main reason. Now, again, on the Ghana Embassy, I must say the Ghana Embassy have been on top of their game. The Ghana Embassy here in Doha, they've been on top of their game from the time it began, because the whole thing began a week today. Okay, last week by this time, we're just hearing the whole thing online. So the embassy have been in contact with us, even as at yesterday. Yesterday, we were supposed to have a physical Ghana's independence celebration, but because of the incident, we're not able to organize that program. And what we did was that we held that program online, and we had the embassy also representing and then sharing their message with us. So the embassy is on top of their game, and that we can say kudos to them. That is what we have in here. That's why I'm saying we are safe and then we are stable as of now, unless probably in the next few minutes the situation elevates to another. That is when we can also give the new assessment. But for now, this is the current situation we have in here in Doha.
Thank you very much for the engagement this morning. You've actually given us a true on-site commentary. We appreciate it. We'll still keep you on the line as and when anything comes up. We'll probably get back to you for clarification. But thank you very much. That was Eric Siaun Nate. He's the PRO for the Ghanaians living in Qatar. Thank you, Eric. So back to you, studio. Kutin, let me start with you. How did all this start? Where did we get here? Because Saturday we were sitting here, we had the program. Just when we closed and we went out, then we heard that there were some missiles that had been fired towards Iran, and then, so 7 days old. But how did this all start? If you can just walk us through how this started.
Thank you very much, and let me welcome my good brother, Lawyer Farquhar. In fact, this is a very unfortunate conflict, because it didn't start because diplomacy failed. It started on the contrary, because diplomacy indeed succeeded, because the Oman Foreign Affairs Minister, 24 hours before the strike, did come out to say that Iran has agreed in principle to allow UN inspectors into their site, and they were going to stop stockpiling the rich uranium. Then 24 hours later, boom. So it's one thing. This war was pre-planned, premeditated. It didn't start because of any provocation from the Iranian people. And that makes this war a Trump and Netanyahu war. It's not a war of the Americans, neither is it a war of the Israelis. Because if you look at this war back home in America, it's very unpopular among the American people. Statistics shows that only 21% of Americans approve it, and over 50% said they were not interested and it was too expensive to go into such an enterprise. So on the 27th was when the negotiations concluded, and both parties were supposed to go back and then debrief, and then they'll reconvene at another time to finalize or put finishing touches to what was agreed upon. But Trump and then Netanyahu decided that they were going to do their own stuff. And this makes this war very complicated for our institutions. One, after the 1945 debacle, and with the exception of the UN, we all agreed that multilateralism was the way to go. And the very country that gave birth to the blueprint of multilateralism was the United States of America. The saddest thing is that it's not China or Russia who is eroding these fundamentals. And it was built on three key things. You understand? So now the world is at a crossroad, and we are redefining the world order today. And there are two competing claims here. The one we know, the old order based on the multilateralism, and the new one that is seriously rearing its ugly head, and that is the interest groups. So a stronger country with its allies that have peculiar interests can decide that to hell with the international system that has brought us where we are. And you know, it's so sad that the whole world will sit behind to get these individuals put us through these things. I'm hearing, and the gentleman we spoke from Qatar just confirmed that intel I got before I came here was that the Gulf countries have really appealed to Iran to sort of see how they can de-escalate the process. And Iran has agreed in principle not to attack the Gulf countries. And they were not attacking the Gulf countries per se. They were attacking U.S. military assets in the Gulf countries. But there is one disillusion that we as a people must come to that realization. Donald Trump is saying he must be part of the selection of the next supreme leader of Iran. How did we get to this level? This is quite disillusional. Afakwa, what has happened to the tenets of democracy? Yes, so sovereignty. What has happened to that? And you see, history have not guided us. Let's ask ourselves how the Iranian regime came about. I mean, this repressive Islamic revolution. Let's go back to history and look at that. So it looks as if we are not guided by history, and there are a lot of school of thoughts. Before I came here last night, I was going through a whole lot, and I came out with a few research for the benefit of our listeners. And you know, this war, if you look at it, Iran is not looking to win. Iran is playing the asymmetric attrition of war, because they know that they'll throw their cheap drones, and Americans will have to spend millions of their most expensive interceptors to intercept these drones. And if you look at the statistics, I think the first 36 hours, I think 3,000 precision missiles and interceptors were used. Whilst Iran can produce their cheap drones 100 per month, US can only produce 6 to 7, according to the state the US State Secretary. And you see that Iran knows this. They'll capitalize on that to make sure that US dissipates its Western defense systems. But this is the worry. The worry is not even the short term. Can you imagine if China decide to attack Taiwan right now, what is U.S. going to do to defend Taiwan, knowing very well that their stocks are depleting or completely depleted? And Donald Trump, as his usual best, will come out to say, oh, we have unlimited stockpile of weapons. The truth is that those weapons are not finite. And if you look at the generals and what they are saying, the intelligence that are coming, U.S. does not even have these stockpiles to go through this war in the next 4 to 5 weeks, like Donald Trump is trying to portray to the whole world. So I'm happy that the situation is de-escalating, but it could also be a tactics on the part of the Iranians to see the extent to which the Americans can go. You realize that in the last 24 hours, U.S. have come out to say that the Iranians' rocket attack has reduced by 90%. So if that is the case, why is Israel and U.S. still attacking and bombarding Beirut, which is in Lebanon, and then Tehran, which is the capital city of Iran? And you know the unfortunate incident that happened yesterday when our peacekeepers were hit. If I was the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, or the president by extension, I should be ordering my CDS to recall our peacekeepers. They are not combatant. Their role is to maintain law and order. So if their lives are directly under attack, it means their works are done, and they need to return home. And the second thing I would have done as the president of this country is that Israel knows our stand. So if Israel can program their missiles to attack us, it means that they are no longer our friends. I should be ordering the Israeli ambassador and the diplomats to leave my country right away. What did Ghana do to deserve that? And if we are in the age of technology and the intelligence-led operation Israel is making us to believe, they cannot say that it was a mistake they struck that compound. It was deliberate. And I think that the president must come out to make a state here. We are a sovereign country. If it was the other way around, I'm sure by now they would have sent our ambassador packing. And there would have been a lot of diplomatic distance under the distance. Now, U.S. is trying to do the impossible, talking about ground invasion of Iran using the Kurds. You know that that is an impossibility. You know the CIA started that. And Trump has come out openly to say that, yes, he supports that. But this is the truth. The regional Kurdish government in Iraq has come out to deny flatly that they don't have anything to do with anything in Iran. And secondly, they have even moved men to their northern border to prevent any physical movement of the Kurds into Iran. But this is the distinctions we have to make. There are two Kurds we are talking about here. You know, in Iran, they have these Kurds militias who are like opposition to the Ayatollah regime. And we have the regional Kurdistan authority in Iraq here who are ruling. So now I made a statement here on Focus this week that look, because of the Muslim solidarity, a Muslim country will never attack a fellow Muslim country in the face of adversity. And this thing is showing clearly because the regional Kurdistan government in Iraq are allies to the U.S. So you see that they are cautious. They are balancing their alliance with the U.S. and their main survivor. And the third layer is that the Turkish government, who have rebelled the Kurdish militants as terrorists, they will never allow any Kurds gaining territory anywhere in the middle. They will not allow that. And you know that Turkey is an ally of of NATO. So how is U.S. going to go around this? And secondly, let's talk about our international organization. You see that UN has been paralyzed and dead. How will an organization like the United Nations, the Security Council, could not stop some of these things from happening? And that was the very reason the Security Council was created. And you see that ambiguity, these veto powers, that you can veto any decision that goes against you. In a democracy, in the revolution of our institutions, how can we give these countries this power? And that is what we have been calling for over the period. Look at a continent of 1.4 billion people. We don't have a seat at the UN Security Council. And we say we are part of multilateralism. No. So I think that ECOWAS, and by extension the African Union, I think they also have their own challenges. I expect them to come out with statements, not siding with any side of the conflict, but making strong case for regional bodies. Otherwise, we risk, in Africa already know we have very fragile institutional stuff. Nobody is going to take that on board. And you see in the Sahel in particular, the military regimes that we have, those are the narratives they have used and they are where they are. So if we give them more fuel, it means that we'll be giving more appetite to more African countries to go on that route. And that will not be good for the larger security of the Sahel. And you see, anytime there is disturbances in the Middle East, the jihadists move to the Sahel. You remember Iraq? After Iraq with Osama bin Laden, when the West started chasing Osama bin Laden, what happened? They ran to West Africa, Boko Haram in Nigeria and others. So if care is not taken and we don't de-escalate the situation the way we are supposed to do, and US is bombarding everywhere that is doing currently, it will fuel many of these jihadist groups into the Sahel. And already these extremist groups are looking for this kind of propaganda to do what? To recruit this our impressionable youth. The last but not the least is the US Congress. If you look at the US Constitution, they have the right to declare war. Now, the saddest moment was when the Senate and Congress were not able to stop the war powers of Trump. And what that portrays to the rest of the world is that they are implicitly giving Trump the green light to do whatever he wants to do. And if you look at this school of thought, it beats everybody's mind that what will make Trump, after diplomacy was succeeding, to take the decision he and Netanyahu took, the Israeli Epstein file button is to play. And whether we want to believe it or not, a significant proportion of Americans believe in that. And that is fueling the political architecture in the U.S. at the moment. And U.S. is going to midterm elections, and I can guarantee you that many of the representatives that could not stop Trump from this war and gave him the green light to continue, their seats will be at risk.
Thank you. Dr. Ansako, what do you think is America's strategic interest that ended up driving them to be in support of this war?
Well, you want me to speak for America? I will.
Even though you're a proud Ghanaian.
Yes, I'm a proud Ghanaian. They have made some points clear. I will not vouchsafe that what they said is true or false, but they certainly made some assertions. One is the nuclear ambitions, alleged nuclear ambitions of Iran, and then what they thought to be a great danger of that country under their regime actually assessing nuclear capability. And not just nuclear weaponry, but also the ability to actually transport such weapons, we use them across continents and all that. So one is that military strategic consideration. One other thing that they also allege is the fact of, they allege that there have been so much human rights violations, human rights abuses. You were talking of human rights, and they've alleged that the suppression of the routers, the suppression of the women when they were speaking against the Taliban and all that. So they also allege human rights, whatever. That is for America. Then the third party is that some analysts of the viewpoint, like what my colleague has just said, some analysts of the viewpoint that this is also a diversionary move. It's a very common trick in politics. When there's too much pressure at home, you sometimes divert attention by raising foreign issues. So that could be, if you believe that, then that could be one other sort of thing that actually propelled the Americans. Then, of course, Trump's big dream, MAGA, Make America Great Again. And the idea of Make America Great Again is very interesting and perhaps very disturbing. It goes against multilateralism. That has been mentioned, but that's very important because the entire structure put up after World War II, the post-World War II settlements are all being dismantled under this MAGA agenda. The UN has been very much weakened, almost to the point of it being almost impotent. Yeah, the UN has been very much weakened to the point of being made impotent. A lot of things have happened, not just the UN, but a lot of multilateral institutions. America's, USA's attack against its own allies in NATO, the claims he made against Canada, Denmark, and NATO, all this is style of politics. Again, the idea of America actually not being part of a multilateral team to ensure a global order, but America standing out and standing alone. The usage of tariffs as political weapons. All these are very fundamental changes that are happening on the international scene. And the offshoot of this is that two people or two individuals actually, based on these sort of developments, can do a lot. And these two are Netanyahu and then Trump. Yeah, they can do a lot of things. So these are the motivations that I can speak of immediately concerning America. But don't also overlook or downplay Netanyahu's ambitions. He also is a politician. He actually survived. His survival as a politician is dependent on continued crisis. He has a lot of domestic problems, issues, and he will become irrelevant if there's no crisis facing Israel. And he wants to take this advantage to weaken Iran, which they see to be a serious enemy in the entire area. I must say that Israel sees itself as being a besieged state. I must say that Israel sees itself as being surrounded by enemies and all that. I must say that factually, Iran, that theistic regime, have done a lot to support regimes and opponents that were opposed to Israel. For example, what they are doing in Lebanon, yeah, and all that. So for all these reasons, Israel's prime minister also has his own reasons for trying to actually join a coalition like that. And in fact, they happen to have technology, they happen to have won the intelligence game, and they combined and then did all that. But to me, there are more fundamental issues. The entire post-World War II peaceful arrangements that settled World War II have changed. The world has changed ever since. And people are not really addressing the issue. People are not really strengthening the Middle East, for example. For example, the quest for peace, Ukraine and then Russia. This more or less has become the burden of the US, not the UN. Again, as part of the impotence of the UN. For example, the quest for peace in the Middle East, and there are fundamental problems in the Middle East. No doubt about that. This again has become the burden of the US, and not this in the UN. The UN is so weakened that one wonders whether it is relevant in this era. Or a lot of reform changes must take place, and these are not happening so far. Perhaps if I may add a sort of thing, it is also a failure to live up to the idiosyncrasies of perhaps Trump. He is not just changing institutions or this MAGA idea, placing himself over and above everybody, breaking down on multilateralism. Not just that, but even diplomacy, the style of diplomacy. How can you tell a fellow state, Canada, that it should be whatever? How can you actually talk to a fellow head of state, even if it's a weak state?
Like the UK, sir.
Like, Apart from the UK, the most serious one is how you treated Ukraine's prime minister. Like a small boy, like a father and son relationship. This is not done in diplomacy. Yeah. But the whole world kept quiet. You see, a lot more. How can he come and embrace Britain for perhaps showing some teeth and showing some reservations about joining that alliance outright? So a lot of changes are happening. And so far we have kept so quiet. And Trump is actually taking advantage of that and going ahead with it. But there are some considerations. But to me, the bottom line is simply this. The post-World War II arrangements based upon multilateralism, based upon diplomacy, all these are now breaking down. The world has changed much since World War II ended. The Cold War happened, the Cold War is over, and we are now in a new era. And leaders like Trump, leaders like Putin, are taking advantage of the changed times to pursue their personal and national interests. And the world is not able to really respond to them as appropriate. That's my personal take.
Well, Doc, a follow-up on that. From what you said, would we not say that the impotence or the weakness of the UN in cracking the whip is what has emboldened the Trump-led US to assume this big brother status that nobody has asked them to?
Yes, trying to ensure world peace, trying to ensure that people live up to nuclear commitments and all that. The weakness of the UN has done that. But I will not blame the UN per se. The UN is what you make of it. Sovereignty does not reside with the UN. Sovereignty resides with the states that make up the UN. Yeah. And so we must take note of all these sort of things. My colleague actually blasted the UN for this negative vote. Negative vote. The idea that there must be agreement before something can be done. Yes, that sort of thing. The veto power. The reason for that actually emerges from a very interesting thing. Russia was not going to join the UN. The USSR was not going to join the UN because his fear was that it would always be outvoted by the rest of the allies, former allies, who were in capitalist countries. It agreed to join only because of that veto power, the negative votes. However, the irony is that since it was introduced, it has been used more by the USA and not the USSR or even Russia. That is the irony. But then the failure of the rest is that since a lot of other countries joined the UN, and since that time, no serious effort has been made to address that fundamental problem. It's not really correct that we don't have representation on the Security Council. We do. The whole world is represented on the Security Council. The trick, however, is that the permanent, the permanent seat members are those who have the veto powers. The rest don't have. So the representation we have. Ghana, for example, has said this thing at least 3 times. Yeah, so it's a scar fact that we are there. But the point is that we are impotent.
You don't have a veto power.
Yes, that is what you don't have, but we are members. But that's not the same thing that we are not members. We are members. That's a historical fact.
Right, thank you. Dr. Naba, on domestic, how exposed is Ghana's economy to this? I'm asking this because we've been here before. We had the much touted Russia-Ukraine being the reason for almost everything that was happening in Ghana from 2020 to 2024. Now we are here. We are hearing the US, Israel, Iran. It has just started. It's 7 days old. How exposed is our economy now that we know we're just about getting out of the IMF, and then this comes?
Thank you very much. Definitely, Ghana is part of the world, just like we've always been. And anything that happens across the globe that affects global trade, that affects the global markets, will definitely have an impact on every country. It will only depend on how leadership of each country would try to cushion its people by trying to be very prudent, by trying to be very fair and honest in dealing with the people. That is how the gravity would be. So far, we've heard that fuel prices are going up, and we consume fuel, and 30% of the world fuel is coming from the Middle East, and coming from Iran and all those countries around Qatar and then the rest. Definitely, if prices go up, you know Ghana, once the price go up and we increase the price at the pump, it will definitely go up. When Ukraine was at war, we saw what happened when we didn't get wheat and flour. Prices went up. But that would depend really on how the government in power would handle the situation. Whether it would create buffers, whether it would not try to abuse the international problem, conflict, and treat its people in a very different way. For instance, let me give some few examples. Yes, there was Ukraine war and there was COVID. But Ukraine war and COVID did not tell us to go and dig a pit to build a church. No. Ukraine war did not tell us that to go and build a cathedral. That means we're not spending prudently. In the midst of COVID, in the midst of Ukraine war, instead of spending money to do good things that would improve the economy of the country, we're pushing into money into places that were not needed. Was it the Ukraine war that made us to go and sign an SML deal that has ripped this country off completely? Was it the Ukraine war, or was it the COVID-19 that made us to give $30 million to a contractor to build the road from Tamale to Walla Walla and he didn't build? Was it the Ukraine war that made us to use $12 million to give to a company to dig a multi-purpose dam in Pualugu that didn't work? It is how the government is going to handle it. Definitely, there is no way that this would not affect Ghana. It will affect it. But I would only pray and I hope that we have learned lessons from the past. And we've criticized the previous government in its dealings with the country when it came to COVID and came to the Ukraine war, that they abuse the situation and what? Run the country to the ground. We only have hope that our president with this economic management team would rather play it well this time to ensure that we don't overspend and spend unnecessarily and then create this country to go back to where we are trying to salvage from. Definitely, the government is working hard to ensure that we come out of this quagmire that we were in, and we're actually coming out. You've seen the figures, you've seen the statistics, and we can't hide that the war in Iraq and created by U.S., Iran created by U.S. and then Israel for their personal benefits, which is not accepted internationally. No country is accepting it. And let me doff my cap to the people of the president of Spain for standing firm to indicate that he is not willing to allow his territory to be used. And American government, you see the bullying. That is why we're all talking about, that they don't respect multilateralism now. It appears the UN is really now dead. How can a country, a sovereign country, tell you that I don't want to facilitate your attack of another sovereign country? Then the government will just come and say, okay, we've broken ties with you, no more trade with you, and nothing. Please, let's be careful with what is happening in Iran right now. Iran may have its own problems, but let me tell you the genesis. I'm not a historian, but a little of information. In 1953, there was a democratically elected president for the Iranians who was very good, but came to nationalize its natural resources. That is when the Americans had problems with Iran. Why is America not having problems with the other Arab countries that are doing deals with them? Why is America not having problems with all those surrounding them? Because they are dealing with them. But any country that tries to nationalize its own resources, trying to prove to be a sovereign country, like Venezuela, Americans would not allow it to breathe. If they are actually attacking Iran simply because of a fear of them developing atomic bomb, from Donald Trump's own mouth, Donald Trump's own mouth last year said that they have obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities. So why the fear? Why the fear? Now you see how he has moved. They've killed the supreme leader, they've killed the country leadership, and now he's saying he wants to dictate who should be the next leader of the country, just like he did in Venezuela. It obviously means that they were not interested in an atomic bomb. They were not interested in anything. They only wanted maybe a stooge to take over the affairs of the country, for them to do with Iran what they want to do with it. But you see, the Iranians have learned lessons. And I think the whole of the Iranian people, those who are even against the system that they are against right now, are even trying to now support the system because they have realized Americans don't want anybody to prove that they are independent. So for us to say that Israel fears that they will come and bombard them, Iran will come and collapse, destroy Israel. What is Israel? It's a God-given land. Look, history tells us how God gave them the land. God gave them Israel. God gave them that portion of land, but they dispersed and left the place. And we know they dispersed. And now it's Belfast Declaration that built this Israel. And that Israel is not the Jews we know. The Belfast Declaration in 1917, which was then enforced in 1948, gave them this Israel. And anybody who agreed that he wanted to live the Zionism life was accepted to come back to Israel to stay. And Israel was just a small portion. The very people who hated the Jews in Europe, the British, they pushed them out of their country to go and live in Palestine. It is clear in the Belfast Declaration they are taking the land of Palestine to give to the Jews to settle and to be called Israel because God gave them that land. But really, frankly speaking, if you look, the people who have gone there to settle to create this current Israel are not the Jews that we know. It's not the God-given land. The God-given land was in the First Testament, and we saw how God gave them the land. But this new Israel is not the one we are looking at. If we want to say that, yes, God gave you this land, then let's let Aboriginal Americans take back America. Let's let the Sundiatas and the rest come and take over Ghana. Let's allow the Aboriginal Australians go and take back Australia from the British. Is that not what they want? So it is unfair the way they are treating the Palestinians, the way they are treating the Arab world, and any Arab world that is not in consonant diplomatically with the US, is not strategically trading with America. America sees them to be an enemy. Iran, if you look at the statement US US government is making right now, that it is they are waging a Christian war against an Islamic prophetism. In Islam, there is a law, it's decreed that when you go to war, you don't kill women, you don't kill the sick people, you don't kill the old people, and it is against making a bomb that can kill so many people. So therefore, with these principles in the Quran, do you think the Iranians were really making an atomic bomb? They wanted energy, and they wanted to use the nuclear as a source of energy. It is just the desire of Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump to ensure that they achieve what Netanyahu wants. They achieve the fame for Netanyahu to ensure that a country that is relating with Russia, relating with China, they take up the fuel from them to cripple their economy. This is a geopolitics that the Americans and the Israeli president have created. It is fair knowledge that virtually in these two countries, majority of the people are not in support of the war, which is not good. And to blame Russia for coming in, helping them with satellite to identify American interest to bomb, didn't the Americans help Israel to identify Gaza strategic places to bomb? Didn't they? And they've condemned Gaza completely. How do you expect that somebody should not come to save others? I think we have to really let the multilateralism work. The UN must come back to work. And I know it's going to be difficult because, look, America has a president who does not even care about the American leaders. He wants to decide what he wants is what he decides. He wants to take an island. He said the next place will be Cuba. Everywhere he wants to attack. Look, we may be dealing with, like somebody quoted, we may be dealing with somebody who has some serious personality challenge. If we don't take time, it may drag this war into something else. And I like the way the other strong world leaders are calming themselves. I'm happy the Gulf states have personally called on the Iranians not to continue bombing their areas. After all, your interest that you wanted to bomb, you have cleared them. You've cleared all the bases in the Gulf regions, in the Gulf region. So leave us in peace. And I'm happy they've agreed to that. It means that tension will come down. And I pray that the tension comes down so that the effect at the end would not be too much on Ghana. And I also hope that my president and his economic management team would manage the economy well during this crisis to ensure that we don't derail the efforts that we have made so far within the 1 year.
Thank you. Powers, so the Honorable mentioned China and Russia in his submission. what is the likelihood of these countries or other major powers being drawn into this conflict?
I think, first of all, it is important.
Conflict involves Pualugu and all this.
Honorable hinted at that. This is not a religion. It has never been a religion. Personally, I think the war is needless. But a question must be asked: was Iran building a nuclear program, or was Iran executing a nuclear program? The answer is yes. What was the objective of building the nuclear program? They best can answer, but we are well aware that Iran is sponsoring terrorist groups in the Middle East.
That's Hezbollah and Hamas.
Yes, terrorist group in
They are proxies.
Yes.
Is sponsoring them. You get it. So you should not be told that Iran was building the nuclear program or the nuclear facilities, or let me say the infrastructure to generate electricity.
So you mean it cannot be accurately true? Because we all can see.
Do you understand? Because looking at looking at what Iran has done and look at what they are doing, you can't say it was because they are building the nuclear infrastructure just because they want to generate electricity. That would be too simplistic. You get it? The thing is that it is clear that this war has divided opinion in the world. We have those that support the war.
And I mean, by mentioning the Hezbollah, it's mainly so that our viewers will be educated that it's supposed to help preserve Iran's interest in Lebanon and Syria. That's mainly their like you said, their allies or their proxy.
But they are terrorist groups. I don't know terrorist groups. Whether they are proxies or they are their aunties or their uncles or their fathers, Hezbollah is a terrorist group. Iran is funding terrorist groups in the Middle East. Let's not be hiding from the fact. You get it? I am personally opposed to the war, but let's be honest to the truth or the facts. They are funding terrorist groups, and the terrorist groups are there to what? To secure their interest. So why, if it's a terrorist group, if they arm them, they give them money to buy ammunition, what do? Are they buying ammunition to go to church and pray, or go to the mosque and pray? Or they buy the ammunition for them to pocket the ammunition? What do they use arms for? In fact, what is the purpose of arms?
Protection.
Protection. Exactly. And so you wear the arms. You wear it like cloth. You go to the mosque and pray. I mean, you don't do anything with it. The arms is just for fanfare. I mean, it's just let's stop this kind of conversation.
Well, if I may just come in shortly on that issue he's raising, I think it's a very important point he's raising. But what I want to contribute briefly is simply that, yes, somebody's terrorist is somebody's liberation fighter. Exactly. So, well, to me, the issue is not whether it's a terrorist group or not. His argument, I will not challenge it, perhaps. They may be terrorists, they may be whatever. But even if they are terrorists, it is the duty of the UN to see to that. Right. It is not the duty of any country to arbitrarily make itself the policeman of the world and do things its own way.
Thank you.
That is my burden.
Thank you.
And just to also supply this, there are international treaties to the proliferation of nuclear weapons. And you see, UN, before the strike, even agreed they will allow the agency to come into Iran to inspect. They've been inspecting. Look, there is no doubt that Israel is sponsoring terrorists in the Middle East.
Israel.
Iran. But there is a root to it. Because Israel has unilaterally bombarded Palestine. Look at the humanitarian crisis they caused in the recent attack. And the UN, the international bodies were mute, as if Israel has the green card to do whatever it wants.
So let's get
so it also went to the aid of its Muslim brothers by putting proxies to protect the land. That is the basis.
Powers, please go on.
So I maintain that
the question,
Iran.
The question that will arise is whether or not international law is law.
Exactly.
So if international law is law, then it must have a force of law to punish.
Yes.
But if international law is not law,
Then it
that is
cannot
why what my brother Imanu
Individual
Kuti
countries,
mentioned,
yes.
that Israel attacked the Gaza region or Palestinian and other things, and nothing has happened to them, and that they have to now wait.
My question to you was going to be on international law, so I'll come to you.
We will come to that.
Yes,
we
I was
will
going to come to you on
discuss
that
that. And I believe that what my brother Powers was alluding is right, because within the international system, there is no central authority. Nobody controls the international system. States are on our own.
Hold on, because that's the question I was going to. You're answering my question before I come to you.
Let me correct him. He made mention of they'll buy guns for you. You go to mosque and pray. You see, if you skew it to Muslims.
No, he said church. No. He also mentioned church. I heard he mentioned Muslim
right.
church. Yes, he did.
Right.
So he was actually trying to say that they are not doing it for religious reasons, because he started to say it was not a religious fight.
Everybody,
so I think
every country will defend itself if it's attacked. Iran didn't attack Israel. Iran is defending itself. And Lebanon. People living in Lebanon have the right to go anywhere and get ammunition to defend themselves.
Right.
Whether they are selling it, they're getting it from Iran, or they're getting it from Russia, they're getting it from the US, they can defend themselves. Just like we have it in the Sahel and we have it in West Africa. We have people having arms that we don't manufacture weapons in West Africa. But we have terrorists who have weapons, who are supplying. And when you go and see, they are Western weapons.
But America,
so are they also,
America is even arming Israel.
Gentlemen,
what do you say about that?
Were there not Mossad people in Iran who were giving weapons to attack people? So after the terrorism, it's an issue of survival.
Yes. But I think it's fair we understand that is his angle of submission. What did he also say?
No, we agree.
Yes.
That's
so,
okay. Then let me keep
the thing is that it is within the right of Israel to protect itself. The same way it is within the right of any country to protect.
Exactly.
You get it? And nobody has been appointed as a point to determine as whether or not the action of one party is wrong or not. You get it? And let's not be reducing international politics to one terminology that everybody must subscribe to. We need to understand that we are in a Trumpian world, and whether we like it or not, the world will be chaotic until Trump leaves. We need to deal with it.
I agree with you. Elections are
whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not. Whether UN is cannot back or not. Nobody can call Trump to order. So we just have to deal with it. You know, what are the issues? Is he? And Putin, dealt with the historical, let me see the story, or the historical antecedent in regards to the war. I am saying that there's a need for someone to supervise other people from building infrastructure that poses threat to the larger bodies. There is a need. And whoever does that cannot be obviously any country in West Africa or Africa, because we have not even demonstrated enough that we are capable of managing our own country, let alone supervising what others build. That is why the stronger nations will always assume responsibility. You get it? That's why America is also trying to superintend over what the nuclear infrastructure that other countries build. I say that America has demonstrated enough, not because of Donald Trump. We had Obama, we've had Joe Biden. America has demonstrated that they have the wherewithal and the capacity to play the big brother role. Do we need it? Yes, we need it. Do we want the UN to do that? No, the UN cannot do that. Because the UN is even heavily funded by the US. Heavily funded by the US. If the US withdraws its support today, the big brothers must make sure. The big brothers must make sure that. So the big brothers, I'm talking about the US, the UK, France, Russia, and others must play a role to make sure that other countries do not build nuclear programs that threaten smaller countries. It is important. We need that. Must we stop those countries from building nuclear weapons? I don't think so. We must understand that. You see, the thing is that you cannot have a balanced world. In the same way, in this country, we are all not equal. We are all not equal, even though the Constitution says that we are all equal before the law. We are all not equal. You get it? So international law, when it comes to the international plane, we can never be equal. There must be others who must superintend over the work of others to make sure that there is a balance. Sometimes balance is not about giving everybody the same level platform or giving everybody the same platform to dwell. No. The balance could be having somebody playing the big brotherly role to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity to do what they want to do or reach the aspirations that they have in mind. You know, why should an ordinary Ghanaian be interested in this war? It's very important. Because energy is not optional. Government can delay anything, but electricity, transportation, and fuel. I'm telling you, today when you check oilprice.com, it will tell you now, within the space of 1 week, oil price is rising up to $93 per barrel.
It's expected to hit 150.
Exactly. That's what energy experts are anticipating. So clearly, can Ghana be totally immune from the effects of the ongoing war, the US-Israel-Iran war? Not. We can't be totally immune from that. But can we take steps to reduce the pressure? Yes, we can take steps. Which is what, and I'm happy the president hinted that there could be some repercussions. And I'm sure they are working around it. You see, and that brings me to the topic. The thing is that, you see, in these countries, that's why I always say that petty partisan politics is killing, in fact, honest conversation. Some years ago, we were told that the Russia-Ukraine war had effect on our economy. And some people, when they were in positions, said, no, it didn't. Today, why would we care about the US-Israel-Iran war? Sometimes, you see, we must understand that in the world we find ourselves, nobody is an island. So long as you depend on one other country for any commodity, when there's war or combat or conflict in that particular war, it will affect you. Today, India has to be cleared, the US Department of Treasury has to clear India to buy Russia fuel. You know, Russia is under economic sanctions. So US Treasury Department had to sanction India to buy Russia fuel because what? India is under pressure. Because they secure almost 80 to 85% of their fuel from the Middle East. So no country is immune from what? The effect or conflict in other country. Today the president says, yes, we should be tightening our belt. There's a possibility that we may be hit. Yesterday they said, no, it wasn't possible. You get it? I always want us to have a very honest conversation. Let's be truthful to the facts. You see, what is good for Ama should also be good for Kofi.
Right.
So
end on the next one, so I move to Koyo.
Koyo, do we have the end in sight? The US administration is saying that this could take weeks.
4 to 5.
You get it? It could take weeks. Personally, and Putin was right. You know, the US legislators have not been able to get till. But we must understand that Trump has the power to start any war, even without the sanction of Congress. But when he does so, he must get sanction from Congress. He must get the sanction of Congress, which is why they were trying to stop him immediately. Because after starting the war, he must go back to now get the power to continue. Yes. You get it? And they didn't succeed. They were not unanimous in stopping him. But here's the deal. Trump has said within the space of maybe 24 hours, I said two things. That he was not ready for any ceasefire. He wants total surrender. He wants total surrender. You may call it however you want to call it. But the thing is that there must be total surrender. As to whether or not Trump wants to meddle in the politics of Iran, I'm opposed to that. But can Trump do it? Yes, he has demonstrated that he will do it. Can anybody stop him? Why? But even did we stop them when they went to Libya? Do you see the devastation in Libya? Do you see the devastation in Libya? When they told us that they were going for a holy war, they were going to overthrow a dictator, then they ended up destabilizing the whole of Libya. Look at what is happening in Venezuela. A while ago, the Venezuelan acting president was talking tough. The woman, she was talking tough. Then, when she saw what Donald Trump is doing in Iran, now she's beating a U-turn. Now she's praising them.
They're even exchanging diplomacy.
Now she's praising Donald Trump. That Donald Trump has done well to protect the country. Right. So that should tell you, Donald Trump can do anything except to change a man to a woman.
Maybe it has not been tested. He can do that one. Dog, a quick one so that I go to Afokwa.
Very quick one. Well, I think it's a bit, yes, and I have to find the right words, but I think that we just can't submit to the, I've made the point that the establishment, the post-World War II establishment has broken down. I've made that point repeatedly. And part of that establishment was the establishment of multilateralism. I do not think that we can say that it is inevitable things would happen. History shows that things can be stopped. History shows that Napoleon was stopped. History shows that Hitler was stopped because the idea was very dangerous. Yes. Now, if we do not really stop this idea of MAGA as it is manifesting, America acting in a unilateral way, and again threatening everybody, disregarding all the norms, and then we assume that America is invincible, nobody can stop the America. I think that's the wrong approach to take, honestly. I think we must think of how to actually stop this particular trend, because it's not good for America. It's not a matter of personalizing it. Trump has a person who has really pioneered this particular cause. Even if he dies today, somebody else can take up the idea and even do it better than what he is doing. And it's not just multilateralism collapsing. It's also a matter of America getting advantages from almost every transaction. Don't just be a mediator. In Ukraine, he wants to take resources and all that. I'm very much pro-American, and I very much understand Israel. They are a state under siege, really, and all that. But the point is that there are certain trends that are historically incorrect. Fascism was stopped because it was wrong. And if there is the will, however long it is, this can be stopped. Again, we shouldn't make the mistake of thinking that victory can be won so easily. Yes, you may win the war, or you may win the battle, but you haven't won the war. Right. Afghanistan, after 10 years, the Americans have left Afghanistan, and it's a mess. The Russians went to Afghanistan. After 10 years, they also walked out, and it's still in a mess. So yes, you may win militarily, bombard everything and all that, but you don't defeat the will. Israel was established on 14th May 1948. Since that date, the Palestinians have always attacked Israel. On every occasion, the Israelis rebound them, but on every occasion, the Palestinians the Arabs take more land from Israel, and yet the Palestinians never give up. They reorganize and come again. Yes. So please, let's be very careful. And let us examine the characters and then the things that multilateralism is breaking down. Disregard of diplomacy, disregard of international law. These are all serious issues which must be tackled. Right. And we're trying to address it personally by personalizing it. Okay.
So I'll take the last submission from Afokwa, then I'll go for a quick break. Afokwa, the question that you already preempted and answered. It's international law. And if it is, who is mandated to enforce it? And why is it failing? 3 questions.
Let me say a very good morning to yourself and to your cherished guests and our cherished viewers. And I must say that yesterday we celebrated our 69th anniversary of gaining political independence. Because everything that we do in this country is politics. We are not doing much in terms of health independence. Agenda 111 is still lying idle. Over 80 of these infrastructures are still lying idle without due care to the lives of ordinary Ghanaians. But when the elite, the political elite, is sick, they jump on the available flights to other parts of the world to enjoy better care, but they don't care about the ordinary people. That is the order of the day, and that we use taxpayers' money celebrating this because at the end of the day, we'll go and queue and use our terms to select who becomes the next leader of this republic. And may God have favor on us, because this is a favor state that we always seek favor from the Almighty God, Almighty Allah. Kojo, the question again is international law. If the international law was law, we wouldn't have found ourselves in this messy situation.
Right.
And that has led to the breakdown of multilateralism, as Doc is alluding to it. Because the whole concept of multilateralism thrives on rules, legislations that we have put in place to be able to regulate the conduct of state and non-state actors within the international system. And I must say that the international system is a realist construct. That is why proponents of international relations or international relations scholars and political scientists view the international system as anarchical. There's no central authority to regulate the conduct of states within the international system. And in view of that, states are within the international system to pursue their national interests. It's interest-driven. Whatever every state undertakes to pursue within the international system, it's not in furtherance of the interest of you, Kojo, or Ima, or Powers, or Doc, or the two doctors. It's in furtherance of their own interest. What is the interest of America in this whole brouhaha? It is to protect their unipolar status within the international system as they currently enjoy. You see, multilateralism has enabled states to rise in terms of economic power, in terms of military capabilities, because we have enjoyed some stability within the international system for quite a long time. You remember, if you study American foreign policy and the likes, we all believe that the United Nations, World Bank, International Monetary Funds are all foreign policy tools of the American government. That is why they are all headquartered in the American state. And America is the major financier of these institutions, just to push forth the ideology. You remember, when at the foundation of American states, they promoted an act of parliament called the Isolationism Act. In our local parlance, it is Dufiasem. Because before the formation of the Newfoundland called America, Europe was stronger. France, Italy, Poland, and the likes, it was a war zone. You try to attack each other and make sure that you conquer, you rule. When they also mobilize, they also fight back, they attack. So Europe was disorganized, was demobilized within a space of time as a result of wars, conquests, to expand territories and the likes. So when America, the state of America was founded, at the time, I have read from books that the standing army of US at the time of its formation was less than 500. So they felt that they cannot entangle themselves in international affairs or European affairs, and that they needed time to stay within, develop themselves, before they can join the international system. And that is why America was not part of the First World War in 1911. Because they had an act of parliament regulating the conduct of America. That it is time for us to stay in-house, prepare ourselves, build our structures, build our factories, and the likes. Then find markets to sell these products. So when they were able to produce enough, they needed markets to ship these goods. And the available markets were Europe. And Europe was always in turmoil, in confusion. So they promoted the idea of the League of Nations, which never saw the light of day. It fell flat. So after the Second World War, that they promoted this multilateralism with the founding of the United Nations and the International Monetary Fund, World Bank, and those things. And you know, the World Bank was the bank for the reconstruction of Europe. Just to rebuild Europe, because they felt that that was a major market to sell American products. So in all, the picture in the international system is America, because it is the interest of America that the world remains as it is. No power arises to contest, to challenge. That is why they are running down states' interest to promote nuclear programs. Because once you have a nuclear capability, that means that you have also attained certain heights in terms of polarity. Because in attaining polarity, a polar status, one, your economic power needs to be assessed. What is your GDP and others? Your infrastructure, your military capabilities, and a whole lot of things will have to be assessed. Currently, how many countries are nuclear warring states? Few. So if you allow Iran to develop its a nuclear program, to become for its military capabilities to be stronger. It will control the Middle East area. Right. And the Middle East area, America also has an interest there. And that we should not allow Iran to develop its nuclear program so that it will control the entire Middle East area. And you know the resource, that is a major oil hub. And that once it controls that region, it also becomes stronger. It develops allies, and the allies will move into an international system. And the international system will then become a multipolar international system, which will rub shoulders with the American state. Why did America go into Venezuela? Because they needed an entry into Iran. Why did America go to Iraq and those things? So if you assess all these things, it clearly tells you the interest of America. Why is America inviting Ukraine to be a member of NATO as against the interest of Russia? Because it shares boundary with Russia. Simply put, America is trying to dominate the international system as they currently dominate. And now, after the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1989, the international system has largely become a unipolar, being controlled by the United States of America. Others are contesting that, China can challenge America. It is never true, as it exists now, in terms of military capability. Let's see in the last few days how America has demonstrated its military capabilities within the Middle East area, in terms of the receptacles, taking over bombs and other arsenals deployed by the Iranian state and other allies. You could clearly see that, yes, America is of age, and they have really developed. And Doc was saying that the issue of the MAGA is what is driving all these things. It is true. That's the interest of the American government. It is the American interest. Ghana, we must have an interest. And our interest is Gold Board, which is also buying gold from illegal sources, trying to destroy our environment.
Did you have to go there?
Recently, I sent you a video recently.
I've seen it.
The 6th March. Galamseyers were emboldened. They lined up to march in one of the districts. Yes, with their hoes, their cutlasses and other things, their pickers and other things. Impunity, that's the interest of Ghana. That we have decided to destroy our environment in pursuit of gold. America is also thinking aloud, trying to live beyond ages, to continue to also mobilize resources from other parts of the world to make the American state great. We can't compete them, we can't contest them. We are also a sovereign nation like America. Although they have 54 states, we have 16 regions, but God has blessed us with our natural resources. And if we decide to manage our natural resources properly, we can also become a desired nation that people will be thinking to also join us. Right. What are we doing as a country? All that we are doing as a country is what? We remember the Atlas deal recently, the alleged Atlas deal, the conflict of interest situation in Cocoa Board, where there's alleged to be a deputy CEO of Cocoa Board trying to also siphon from Cocoa Board to Atlas using warehouses and other things. Why must a sovereign state called Ghana begin to be seeing some of these things under a democratically elected leaders? Why are we seeing all these things? The opaque sale of our 18 tons of our gold reserve, less than 2 years of President Mohammed's reign, the over 38 or 30-something tons of gold that were stored by the previous government and other governments. We have reduced that to about 18 point something tons. Where are the rest of the gold? How was the transaction like? Did we sought the approval of the Ghanaian people before these transactions were made? Where are we using, how are we investing the proceeds of this sale of our 18 tons of gold? These are lingering questions. Who are even the buyers? Absolutely. Right. And you see, we are getting frustrated that the elite political class is benefiting at the expense of the ordinary taxpayer. Look, Doc has taught for so many years with fine scholarly knowledge. And I tell you, if you see the car, maybe he may be riding, and a young boy or a young Ghanaian appointed to government recently in less than a year, buying houses in East Legon, riding the best of cars. Where did we go wrong?
You have evidence of that.
I have evidence.
Oh,
if
right.
I can mention names. No, you see, we shouldn't be doing this to ourselves. But you see, don't challenge me because
I'm not challenging you.
Don't challenge me because we are all in the game. Yes. We know ourselves.
Okay.
We are all in the game. We know ourselves. You see, these are the things that makes democracy break down.
On this set, we are all not in the game, so we don't know ourselves.
So if you are not
once
in the
we
game,
make it
If
Once you make
you want me
it
to, if you want me to publish it, I'll publish.
No.
He knows me.
No, that's all. No.
in the game to amass wealth.
I'm in the game to serve.
1 more minute and so let me take a
So
quick
you
break.
see, we must respect the rights of other states within the international system. Like Hans Morgenthau, Kenneth Waltz have postulated, and that is exactly what is happening within the international system as we see today. That the international system is a realist construct. States are within the international system to pursue their national interest. And as far as states are competing among each other, war is a natural phenomenon. War is a natural phenomenon. You see, when you read Psalm 83 verse 4, Psalm 83 verse 4, the Bible, according to Psalm 83 verse 4, says something about Israel and its enemies, that the enemies of Israel wants to see Israel wiped out. There is a quote that is alleged to have been made by the late supreme leader of Iran, that in less than 25 years, Israel will be no more. So if there is this threat against the Israeli state, where even the Bible references him under Psalm 83 verse 4, then certainly they will also prepare and to be also to fight back. And these are national interests being pursued by sovereign states in furtherance of their national interest, in furtherance of their survival and other things. So we should also think about ourselves that the enthusiasm that the late Professor J.A. Mills, may his soul rest in perfect peace, Ghana, we must also look within and do things right and make sure that we also come of age in terms of technology. In terms of, look at the recent one, the fine idea of the 1 million coders program. And I'm hearing that one laptop, the procurement process, is costing us over 14,000 Ghana cedis. What kind of thievery is this?
Thank you.
14,000 Ghana cedis.
Thank you. There's a press release by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. When I come back from the break, I would read it. But before I go on the break, I would read a few text messages from our viewers. I have a message from Kwanzaa from Tema. He's speaking on the reflection we did this morning. Good morning, GBC. Under the well-being and dignity of Ghanaian, something serious should be done about it. I hope your reflection will reach the president. Thanks. This also is from Ni Krakow. He says that, greetings, GBC. Thanks for bringing this important agenda. I don't blame the sellers. I blame our authorities who are our authorities, to be candid. Do we have monetary and evaluation board? If we have, what is their duty? Okay. This also is from another person. He said, this is very, yes, Mr. Host, this is very disappointing as a nation. Tell Mr. Kojo Vanes this morning that I'm expecting him to touch on this topic. I know him, okay. This person says he knows me personally, but he's saying that listening to your reflection this morning, I wish to make a very passionate appeal to government through your platform to solve the transport issues for Ghanaians plying the Dodoa Road currently being renovated. The hassle to get into public transport every evening is humiliating and inhumane. The trotters are refusing to ply that route, and when they do, they are not charging the fee they should. Some look at the crowd at the station and decide to rip off commuters. I am a 59-year-old man. After almost 35 years of working and due to an accident, I am compelled to use public transport. Why should I be reduced to such inhumane, humiliation and demoralizing status, whilst young politicians are in V8 with convoys? This is not the Ghana I was hoping to see at age 69. I don't know how you guys understand terrorism. The biggest terrorist countries in the world are Israel and America. I lived in the Middle East for about 10 years, and I know how evil the Zionist Israel is. This is Eddie from Achimota. This is to Powers. Who defines who a terrorist is? Mandela was once described as one. Would it be wrong to describe America as the only terrorist country in the world? I am told that Nkrumah was also once described as a terrorist. This is also from Wilson. He says that Iran once sent photo and video depicting Iranian senior military officers walking over U.S.-Israeli flags in the Iranian ballistic missile site. Why should they do that? I'll read two more, then I'll take a quick break. There are a lot of messages coming in. Hi, U.S.-Israel war. I just want to contribute to the discussion going on in the studio. That young man in blue. Okay, you are in blue. Come on, what are you talking about? I learned you are okay. Thanks. Okay, I'll save some parts. Saying that Iran is sponsoring terrorist groups, so they deserve what's happening to them. That's not what he said. He didn't say they deserve what is happening to them. Didn't USA also a terrorist group sponsoring. Okay, I think you're getting personal with the young man in blue. So please, let's. This is Tahiru also saying, I'm surprised. Okay, this one is coming again. Powers, people are coming at you this morning. What are these people talking about? Where were we not in the world when Iran refused to allow IAEA to inspect their nuclear facilities? USA is a savior to the world, and we need to. Okay, so that's not accurate. They have never refused them to inspect. Okay, Powers, this morning is for you. We'll take a quick break. When we come, we'll read the press release from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on the attack on the Ghanaian base in Lebanon, and after that we'll move on the topic, because this topic, if we want to continue, we can spend the whole morning discussing it. We'll leave the rest for you to discuss. We'll go into Parliament and discuss the minority leaders' retraction or withdrawal of the accusation of fraud. We'll be right back.
For decades, we have helped businesses connect with their trade partners all over the globe. From Ghana to Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, China, Morocco, France, Netherlands, and many other countries. We have made it possible to bring Ghana to the world. We have brought small and medium businesses closer to their customers across the regions in Ghana with our SME support facilities. We have brought relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa, we are indeed with global reach.
Stay back and stay safe. The National Petroleum Authority is cautioning the public to desist from scooping or fetching fuel from overturned fuel tankers at accident scenes. Do not get closer to the scene in an attempt to take videos or pictures. Inhaling the petroleum product is detrimental to your health. Worst of all, petroleum products are volatile and highly flammable, and a small spark can trigger a catastrophic explosion, causing deaths and loss of property. Call the Ghana Fire Service or Ghana Police personnel to handle the scene, or reach the National Petroleum Authority's contact center on 0302 550 380. Your life is worth more than a gallon of fuel. This Save a Life campaign is from the National Petroleum Authority.
Well, welcome back from the break, proudly sponsored by Bank of Africa and NPA. Bank of Africa says that it's a heritage month, a month to be proud of the land of our birth. And as a bank, it supports the Ghanaian agenda. I wish I could say make Ghana great again. So that's probably be MGGA. So Bank of Africa supports that dream, and it will do everything to foster the economy of Ghana, the development economy of Ghana. It focuses on SMEs so that it builds the economy to where it is supposed to go. The NPA also says that if you believe that you've been served poorly at any fuel station, make a complaint. Don't worry yourself and argue with them. It will not bring you any results. Make a complaint and they will see to it that it is resolved. So NPA customer care is their hallmark. So we said we're going to discuss domestic issues, but my team has prompted that we don't have time to go into that one. So we are going to exhaust the time by continuing the discussion on the U.S., Israel, Iran conflict. We have approximately 35 minutes to end the program. So if you go across, we are just doing 5 minutes per person. That should give me about 25 minutes. So please, I'll time you. When I pause you, then I pause you. But before I do, I'll read the press release from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It was released today, the 7th of March. So it's titled, Government of Ghana formally lodges protest to UN Secretary General following condemnable attack on Ghanaian UNIFIL soldiers and demands full, immediate, impartial, and transparent investigations. So I read, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, has, on behalf of the government of the Republic of Ghana, formally lodged a protest with the United Nations following the attack on the Ghanaian Battalion 7 with the United Nations Interim Force in Lebanon, known as the UNIFIL, in southern Lebanon on 6th March, which left 2 Ghanaian soldiers seriously injured. I mean, they were attacked on our Independence Day. Anyway. In the March 6, 2026 protest addressed to the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, the government of Ghana has called for a full, immediate, impartial, and transparent investigation into the circumstances surrounding the attack on personnel deployed in the service of international peace and security. Ghana strongly condemns this attack and has further demanded that those responsible be identified and held accountable, as the attack constitutes a grave violation of international law, amounts to war crime, and affronts the protections afforded to United Nations peacekeeping personnel. The government of Ghana has further urged the United Nations to take all necessary measures to ensure the safety and security of members of the Ghanaian contingent serving with UNIFIL, as well as all personnel serving under the mission who, at great personal risk, make daily sacrifices in the service of humanity. The government of Ghana assures our gallant soldiers that no effort shall be spared in pursuing justice and guaranteeing enhanced protection. Our thoughts and prayers are with the injured and their beloved and their loved ones. Ghana reaffirms its unwavering and long-standing commitment to United Nations peacekeeping operations and underscores that the safety and protection of peacekeeping personnel must remain paramount in their collective effort to maintain international peace and security. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs will continue to monitor developments closely and remain engaged with the relevant United Nations authorities on the matter. To all media houses, signed the Minister for Foreign Affairs. Okay. Doc, Ansa, you wanted to make a point on the realism.
It's a very welcome statement. It's a very commendable statement by the Minister of Foreign Affairs. It shows that there's a government in Ghana. And to me, it's very welcome in the light of our discussions. That idea that nothing can be done, just give up. That is the real sort of thing. I think it's a bad interpretation. We have protested, and he has written to the UN, because that's the right authority to protest to. That's what must be done. I think that generally, summing up, the UN has to be reformed. The role of the UN has to be looked at seriously. Multilateralism must be encouraged in our era. We should not actually encourage this idea of each country trying to make it on its own and then to do whatever. And I must make an observation in that regard. Certain countries and interests are gaining from this war. China, Russia, are all countries that seem to be on the quiet, but in some ways, strategically, they've made a lot of gains from this war.
Yes. Perhaps that's why they are quiet.
Yes, that is not why they are quiet, but they have made a lot of strategic gains. For some are testing their weapons, some are seeing how they work, some are checking the intelligence and whatever. Some have been shot up in the ranking on the international scene, and we Africans seem to accept things that, well, this is how things are. The world is changing. If we are not aware of that, post-World War II order is breaking apart, and we must either help to change it in our interest, or we must seek a better interest for ourselves. I like something South Africa did when the Gaza-Israel thing was on. South Africa took Israel, the Israeli government, to the ICC on the grounds that they were accused them of genocide. Perhaps nothing much came out of that. But for the records, it's very, very important. Israel has made the point that Hitler killed 6 million Jews. Within 6 years, the whole world sat down quietly and didn't say much about that. South African government, just 2 or 3 years back, took Israel to court on grounds of genocide. What is happening? What are we saying about what? Venezuela, whatever. National interest, realism must be done. What is our interest? And even if we're not really seek to influence the system for the better, we must take advantage of it. We can serve as mediators. What is the OAU doing what is the AU, for example, trying to do? Go and be rebuffed. It doesn't matter. Historically, it will stand as a test. You stood as a mediator, you were rebuffed. Go as a mediator. What is the AU doing about this, for example? We are all quiet. Spain has stood the ground. What he did, it doesn't amount to much, but it means a lot. So I think we can do a lot more.
Right, right. Dr. Naba, I mean, you made a very important point in the beginning, and I would want to stand on that one. We saw what America did, or is doing with Greenland. The whole world is virtually quiet. We saw what it went into Venezuela to do.
Right.
The whole world, we only made fun of it on social media.
Yeah.
We saw what it has done in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Some of us applauded it because it benefited us religiously. Yeah. We've seen what it did in Libya. America has been doing this. AU as a body, Africa, together. Why can't we collectively come together and make a stand against America?
Thank you. I think our African leaders are benefiting a lot from this silos nature of their governance system. Everybody wants to be governing and no one wants to point to the other. Yeah. You see, America is strong simply because they've come together. Mm. There are different states that have come together and they have a constitution that is binding all of them and they have to work with it. And they know that unity is power. When Europe realized that, look, until we come together, we can be used for anything, they established the European Union. And you can see how sometimes they can stand the Americans. When they come together, actually, they can stand the Americans and resist certain things. You see, Soviet Union was very united and very powerful. What did the Americans do? Let's disunite them and ensure that we infiltrate there. And they've even infiltrated and made sure even Ukraine, that was built by Russia, the Soviet Union. Ukraine was built by the Soviet Union. They'd be able to coerce them, to be with them, stage a coup, they remove a legally elected president and put a stooge there in 2014. And that has created all this mess in the place. In Africa, the unity is not there because our leaders cannot call their peers to book. They can't advise them anything about their country. Everybody is doing what our former president said, and that don't intrude into my national issues. Let me tell you, there is this American aid. You know, American government cut the aid to Africa, the U.S. aid. Yes. Now they've packaged it into America First. And some countries are refusing to sign. Yes. But few are signing. Few are signing. Would there be unity? Let's all agree that we won't sign it because America First means that my country second. Until the continent unites. Look, we can't do anything to America. I'm telling you, even this multilateralism we are talking about, blah, 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 the UN should do this. Look, this letter our minister has written to the United Nations. Look, yeah, it sets as precedence that we have done something. But I tell you, America would not even, they don't give a hoot. Remember in 1967, these very Israelis bombed an American warship. 1967, I think the historians are there. They blasted an American warship and said it was collateral. Collateral damage. He's going to die. Very soon they'll tell you what happened there. It's collateral damage. And that is all. All what is happening in Gaza, they say collateral damage. But when one person of America or Israel is killed, it's a victim. They have a word for it. When it is DS, it's a victim. When it is others, it's collateral. They did it, to me, they did this intentional to warn Ghana. Power politics. Because they think our foreign affairs minister perhaps is doing something they don't like, or the president is taking a route they don't like.
When the first happened, I think it was on the 1st of March. there was a communique from the ministry expressing that Ghana was not in support of this. I think it was on the 1st of March, if I remember.
And that is the position.
It was on the same day, the 28th. Yeah.
And that is the position Ghana always takes when it comes to war. We don't want to be siding with, and we abhor any unilateral attack on any other country. So I think that is the position, a genuine position. But I think this attack on the Ghanaian military base in Lebanon, to me, to some of us, is a deliberate one. And my sympathy goes to all the family members who are in Ghana, and I pray that these military officers recover very quickly and return to their homes. But before I finish, I would like to acknowledge something and commend one Ghanaian who has done something that pleases me. And at least Ibrahim Mahama has donated his old private jet to be used for medical evacuation in Ghana. This is what I call wealth. Dedicating your wealth to the welfare of people is what all Ghanaians should be looking at. Right. We shouldn't be so individualistic. And I pray that may God make him richer to give more out to Ghanaians. The whole country, we don't have a flight to evacuate people to any other place. All what we have, our jets and everything, cannot do that. And somebody to donate it. Look, I would like to commend him. I also equally commend the Kennedy Ajapong. When I was in Tamale Teaching Hospital, he donated a standby generator to the Tamale Teaching Hospital. These are things we want our rich people in Ghana to be doing, not to be cutting deals with government and then getting richer and richer and richer. Let's use the wealth that we have to support the well-being of Ghanaians. So Ibrahim Mahama,
we can make the words from the cutting of the dues, and then we'll buy the generators. What about that option?
That is it. That's what I'm saying. They should not be dealing in deals. Yes, they should not be involved in deals that will shortchange us.
Ibrahim's money is coming from cutting deals.
No. I'm only saying. I'm not saying. Because I'm a medical doctor. I'm an emergency physician. I've evacuated people from Ghana to Europe for treatment, and I think that this is a welcome news. And I pray that this jet will be used to evacuate people from Garu to Accra, not to abroad. Let's enhance our hospitals in Ghana so that they. We'll build an airport because of that jet.
right. Putin, on the bit where Doc landed. Now, maybe we could have said that everything that is happening in U.S., Israel, Iran, it doesn't concern us. But now, as Africa, one of our countries have been hit. Ghana has been hit in our base in Lebanon. Can the rest of Africa sit unconcerned? Because I see a statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Well, it's not our base.
Once you say Ghana, I mean that it's an attack on the sovereign state Ghana.
It's our peacekeepers.
The base upon which the Ghanaian peacekeepers are residing
is the UN.
It's the UN.
Okay.
So it is a flag-wielding base of the UN. So it is an attack on the UN.
Okay. So but Ghanaians,
but
Ghanaians are falling victims.
Yes, I wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. Once Ghanaians are falling victims, can the rest of Africans, the rest of Africa, the people, sit on concern?
Well, could you, just like my good friend said, you see, Ghanaians who were attacked were no combatants. They were just on a peacekeeping mission. And where this attack took place was the compound of the UN. So the attack primarily is on the UN, except that we are the victims. But like my good senior brother, Dr. Anaba said, you see, this attack could be deliberate because Israel have tried on countless occasions to get Ghana on their side on many issues. And we have always vehemently moved away. We've stuck to our non-alignment principle because I think that is the best foreign policy as a country we should go. But you see, to your question, whether the rest of Africa is in danger or otherwise, look, this conflict, Africa will bear the biggest brands. We are import dependent. Meanwhile, we are natural resources rich. And the key thing is what my fellow panelists said. Africa is not united. Look at this USAID withdrawal fashion in American first, and some countries are signing, others are not signing. What is the African Union doing about it? But there's one thing. America is the moral compass of the world, and America dare not fail. So are the activities of Americans are emboldening some other rogue states. And like the senior lecturer pointed out, the direct beneficiaries are Russia and China. Don't forget, Russia is using the same unilateralism to get its expansion and get its influence back, especially the Soviet states they lost. China is doing the same thing. China wants to take Taiwan back. Now, the calculations will be war of attrition. Your stockpiles are not infinite, and you cannot go to war everywhere. You just march up to Venezuela, did what you wanted because your aim has been achieved. We don't hear any protests in Venezuela overnight. You are dealing with the same system that was in Venezuela. The vice president of the president you captured is not the president. Just because you have laid your hands on what you wanted. The world didn't talk. Now they have come to Iran. And Iran, what are they looking for? They said they wanted a regime change. The very first hours of the war, the supreme leader died. Is that not it? That should have ended everything. But it's something else. The geopolitics, like Marco Papanellis explained. But as a country, and Africa for that matter, we have to be guided and understand that elections has consequences. And because of elections, the world is facing what we are facing today. If Donald Trump was not the president of America, we would not be discussing this. And this is someone who promised never to take America to war. So we are gradually devaluing our value systems, and it will become difficult in the near future for the ordinary citizen to trust the politician. And it's not only about that. You see, if you look at back home, and my two political guys are here, it is about time as a country we strategize and move beyond politics and look at how we can build resilience for days like this. Our energy security needs is very paramount. Very, very paramount. Our economy is another area we shouldn't do politics around it. And on focus, I urge government to communicate honestly with the good people of this country. Because no matter the buffers we build, we will not be able to sustain ourselves if this conflict should persist over 4 or 5 weeks. What is our fuel reserves? What is our foreign exchange reserve to be able to do this import cover? And I hear the technical advisor to the finance minister, Dr. Tio, say yesterday that government has enough buffers to withstand this. I don't want to hear the stories later on, doctor, because that's why we are employing government, so that as a country we do politicize the process. We are all in this together and see how we communicate honestly with our Ghanaian people. If what was done yesterday was wrong, it doesn't mean that we should do the same thing. And now, Americans should never be under the disillusion that they can use military means for a regime change in Iran. You can't bomb the 90 million Iranians to submission. And you know what is coming to the fore, dog? Iranians who were otherwise against the Ayatollah regime are now revising their notes because the bombardment is indiscriminate. Yes. Everybody is feeling the brunt of it. So if you were really for us, why are you then killing us? Look at the innocent girls they killed in the first hours of the distance. And then these are children, girls. And the world is quiet about this. That is genocidal. That is why some of us feel that the very things Israel and the Americans are accusing Iran of, they've done that 100 times. So that is why, as the moral compass of the world, you must live beyond what? Reproach. We are not by any means with this analysis trying to say that we support A or B. Our analysis is purely for the consumption and education of our listeners.
Your last point, so I move to Afokwa.
So, the corruption index back home, this is where I will end. In fact, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, indeed, if you want to fight corruption in this country, to do anything. Lifestyle audit is enough. Simple lifestyle audit is enough. Look, we have been in this for a very long time. Opposition is not good. Lawyer Afokwa will tell you. Even you get wrinkles on your face, sis. Come to power overnight, you look very fresh. You'll be wearing designer wears, perfumes, and V8s. And I see that in this current government. Some of the appointees are buying too many luxury vehicles.
Are you still on the U.S. Israel? Or
No, it's on it. I'm coming down on the corruption bid. You know, we had a bite on. I'm concluding it's on the Israel bid. And I feel that as a country, we should depoliticize the corruption fight and tackle it head on for the sake of our children and grandchildren.
Thank you. Afokwa, let's look at, Dr. Anaba mentioned it, that there will be some economic impact. But I want to move into the area of the oil. We know when you look at the plan, where most of the oil, even if it's not produced there, where it passes through, and the transportation canal and all those things, yes, it's actually it's blocked, which means that now we might, or we stand the chance of suffering hikes in the oil prices. What would be, and like he mentioned, do we have enough reserves to actually cushion us?
We in the New Patriotic Party believe that because of globalization, the international system is just a unit, and we depend on each other for livelihood and sustenance. Insofar as we ship out our timber, our gold, our raw materials to other neighboring countries for foreign exchange, where we also import from their countries their already manufactured produce and other items for our consumption, certainly once there is that level of exchange, as we continuously maintain that during the era of the Russia-Ukraine war, there was an impact on Ghana. But our brothers then in opposition never agreed to that. That they maintained that have we ever received any bombs being thrown from Russia to Ukraine or from Ukraine to Russia, Ghana intercepted any of these bombs? It was certainly no. I believe that they will not come back to tell us that there has been any impact on them and they have the resilience to contain the menace as it exists. But we believe...
To be fair and put in context,
no,
most of their claims has been that even though there would have been an effect, we aggravated that effect by certain spending decisions we made.
Exactly.
I will not discount that. But I am maintaining, it is based on this that the Ghanaian people voted the New Patriotic Party out and brought in the National Democratic Congress based on their policy proposition. And graciously, the people of Ghana bought into it. So we expect that there will be less communication as to the US-Israeli-Iran war on its effects on the Ghanaian economy. Again, we maintain that there will be an effect because of the structure of the Ghanaian economy. But to them, they see less than that. And we want to see that impact from their end because that was their policy proposition.
What would you want to see?
That as we are currently enjoying a 3.3% inflation rate, we should maintain same. Fuel at LPG, what do we call it? Gas, petrol at is it 11 point something or something?
Now, yes.
It should be maintained. Yes, it should be maintained.
Even if the price go up, well,
what prices are you talking about? So we believe that what they proposed to us, you see, this is where we need to be truthful to the people of Ghana. Insofar as you want power, the power politics at play in this country is too much. Insofar as you want power, you want to divert from the realities of the time, and that it has come to dawn on you. Whatever you said, you must live with it, and that we will ensure that we put their feet on the altar of accountability to be able to account on the propositions they made whilst in opposition. And we will not agree to them departing from their policy proposition. And that will ensure that we serve the interest of the people of this country well. You see, we should not think that we are more learned, we are more knowledgeable, we are more intelligent than the sovereign Ghanaian who queued on the 7th of December 2024 to vote for this current administration. Let us respect their views, because whatever you gave them, garbage in, garbage out, is what you got. And that you ensure that trust. Kojo, if you read the book published by the Zambian author, Maria Dambisa, Dr. Maria Dambisa, she posits dead aid. That every aid that we receive in Africa makes us 10 times poorer. Dead aid. You find a copy and read dead aid. She has worked with the World Bank, IMF, and all this. And that is a publication by Dr. Maria Dambisa. And it's an interesting book to read. And I read this book, the, how do you call this thing? The steps that you climb?
Ladder.
The ladder. Oh, I'll mention that title. It's an interesting book to read. It's also written by Chinese. And that the ladder, the Western countries climb to where the height they are. Once they got there, they have taken away that ladder. And that they are not allowing us, as the global South countries, to also climb to the level in which they are. That's exactly what is happening in international system, the power politics that is being played out now, right. Where by virtue of our non-aligned stance, our citizens have fallen victim within the camp of the United Nations because of our position. And because, you see, our position as non-aligned are also flirtatious. Are flirtatious because we flirt with the East and flirt with the West, and they don't see our position. We have become the account we say concern for. You go to the West, you go to the East, and that you don't maintain a particular position because we lack tax strategy in developing the resources that God has blessed us with. I believe that once we have adopted the non-aligned stance or position as a foreign policy tool of the government of Ghana or the people of this country, then we might develop ourselves as such that we have everything. Look at intellectual prowess or intellectual capabilities. God never denied the people of Ghana intellect. Look at natural resources. God never denied us the natural resource. Dr. Anaba, a fine medic. Look at other people in terms of mathematics, in terms of science, in terms of social sciences. A prof is here. And look at the people that we have. Why are we not developing ourselves? Because leadership is not showing the way. And that is where we need to get leaders who will move us in a particular direction. You see, the regime change. Why did America target the supreme leaders' bunker and make sure they eliminated them? Because the direction of the leader was what was pushing the Iranian state. After all these sanctions within the international system, Iran was still Iran. They were sanctioned, but Iran was still Iran. So they targeted them. Why can't we also get leaders who would divert the course of this country from consumption, from wearing Rolex watches, from flashy lifestyles and the likes, and that. Right. You see, the last, the last, 30 seconds. Yeah, the last. Whether international law is law. Let me reference you to the 17th March 2023, when the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for the arrest of Vladimir Putin for crimes against humanity and genocide. You know, members of ICC are over 125 countries. But he was able to travel across Mongolia, which is a member state of ICC, and a whole lot of states. But he has never been arrested.
Right.
He has never been arrested. Okay. But there's an arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court. So if you remember, was it Charles Taylor? Yes. The former Liberian leader was arrested and sent to the ICC. From Nigeria. Why was Charles Taylor arrested? Because he's an African leader.
Yes. Okay.
Why is Vladimir Putin upon the issuance of an arrest warrant on his head, moving around the world without any arrest? So certainly, all hands are not equal.
do this for me. Okay. Yes. So Powers, do this for me again on the same oil front. I mean, Lawyer Fuakwa is saying that he's not expecting changes at the fuel pump, which of course realistically we all know it can be possible. But what do you think would be the impact in terms of the oil prices, which eventually would also affect the price of goods on the market?
No, I think the effect, the domino effect, will be largely felt by every Ghanaian. Wherever you are, even if you are hiding in the remotest of places, you still feel it. Because, you see, the U.S. energy Information Administration, in fact, reported that about 20 billion barrels are transported through the Strait of Hormuz per day. 20 billion. That should give you a raw figure of 20% of the world oil consumption. You get it? So that should tell you how important that canal is. That 21 mile. That 21. Yes, that 21 mile canal is. You get it? And I just checked today. When you look at the oil price.com, it gives $90.90 to $92.85, which is per barrel. So that is like you were to look at it. We are hitting almost close to 150, as the energy experts have estimated or speculated. We will feel it, and Afakwa is well within his right to make that comment, largely because the thing is that we're expecting the government to cushion the economy. But this is my position. If the prices spike and it affects our purchase, the Ghanaian populace must share in the burden. As happened in the issue of cocoa, which I supported the position of the government that we must reduce the farm gate price of 58,000, because the thing is that it is easy to do politics with this matter. And I said that when this issue started, I even advocated that the government must meet the cocoa farmers and tell them that it's no longer feasible to pay this amount. So, and having done that, I think the government has done the best option, because we must be in a position to pay the realistic figure to ensure that Ghanaian farmers receive their due pay, but not at the expense of government borrowing. The thing is that the last thing we should do is to borrow to appease or to please somebody. That should not be the game. We must be realistic with our own people. Now, Kojo, so the ordinary Ghanaian will have to share in the burden, which will be so the prices, depending on the changes on the international market, Ghanaians should be paying to also meet the government halfway. That's how we build a society. But you read the statement from the Foreign Affairs Minister, and I must commend Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. He's been fantastic so far. He's been on top of his job. His attitude and posture demonstrate that he really prepared for the job. You get it? Because, in fact, he has issued so far travel advisory, I think, more than 2 or 3 times. You get it? I didn't see that in the previous administration. In the previous administrations. You get it?
It was there, actually, during the Ukraine, it was there.
No,
you didn't see it.
You see, that's why you have to listen to what I say.
Yes.
I didn't say it was not there.
He said he didn't see.
I said I didn't see. So sometimes
it was not well circulated for everybody to see. That's
basically. So when
please
so you see, when I speak and people are quick to react, it's because they don't listen clearly. I said I didn't listen. I didn't say we didn't see. So please, you have to.
It's a legal language.
No, okay. I said it. Kojo heard it, so I'm surprised you didn't hear it. It's just because you were in a reaction mood.
He was in a reaction mood. His party.
Now, Kojo, here's the thing. Yes, Kojo, here's the thing. If the fuel price or the crude price rises on the international market, we should be witnessing changes in the price at the various pumps, and it is well within the right of the government to do that. But you see, there's been this bit of disinformation with ongoing, particularly with the strike on Gambat at the southern Lebanon. Right. Was the strike connected to the ongoing U.S.-Israel-Iran war? You see, it is not, and I have not seen the connection. In fact, you see,
they were bombarding Lebanon.
No, relax. You see, the thing is that let's not be too quick in connecting affairs. Already, Israel has been fighting Hezbollah since January.
So you mean it could be an Israel attack, but not linked to this?
Exactly. So you see, there's a bit of disinformation out there. Oh, Israel has attacked Ghanaians. Yes, they attacked the UN base where Ghanaians were, but it is not connected to the current US, Israel,
There's no
Iran
evidence
war.
to suggest that it is connected.
No, you see, the thing is that, you see, Kojo,
Yes.
Israel has been fighting Hezbollah and other
Hamas and things.
Okay.
Hezbollah and other groups since 2024.
Just 5 seconds. Yes.
You see, since 2024, and you see,
actually.
no, see, okay, 2023, and even there is a ceasefire agreement dated November 2024,
Yes, in 2024.
which Israel is seeking to what? Enforce.
Okay.
You get it? So when you draw the connection that this has anything to do with the ongoing war,
Right.
that is further away from the
Okay,
truth.
so thank
You
you.
see,
My time is
no,
up.
1 minute, just 1 minute. Look, on a more serious note, government should be considering bringing our troops home. Because saying that they have been repatriated to bunkers, Israel have these supersonic
Doc, you want to say
missiles
something?
and bunker crashing stuff.
Couldn't-
They should bring them
Doc
home.
wants
If
to say
there's no
something quickly.
anything to
Gentlemen.
eat, we have gobe. They
Yes.
can eat
Please
gobe.
let's allow Doc say so I can end quickly. Doc,
They
yes.
should bring them home.
Just a small statement. The Okuyeto's statement said that the UN should investigate and find who is responsible. He didn't draw any connection
Yes.
between that and the current.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
I think it's fair.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kicking away the ladder. Okay, so
Chan.
okay, so
Kicking
my viewers
away the
would
ladder.
watch. So viewers, thank you very much. I have a copy of the Dead 8. I'll share it with you right now. My producer has given me a copy, so I'll share with you. Thank you very much, viewers, for the time this morning. It's been an interesting discussion from the commentary I'm also getting via WhatsApp. It means that you believe we've done justice to the topic. My appreciation to Dr. Thomas Anaba MP for Garu, to Dr. Kumi Ansakoy, a senior lecturer at the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana, to lawyer Austin Kwabena Brako Powers, a private legal practitioner, to Emmanuel Kutin, Executive Director, Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism, Enoch Afuakwa, a member of the NPP legal team, and also joined us on Zoom was Eric Siao Nate, the PRO for Ghanaians living in Qatar. Thank you very much. My name is Kojo Vanes. I wish you a happy Independence Day and also a wonderful weekend. See you next week, Saturday. Bye-bye.